opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Thursday edition of Running Points, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, before you make that very large financial commitment, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your wallet to head over to Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Take advantage of their great sales department, service department, and finance department. You go over there, I promise you, they will do their absolute best to earn your business. And I also promise you, you will get an amazing product if you do business with Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Well, last night, not women's basketball, more girls basketball. It's a little combination of both. But girls basketball on the high school hardwoods last night. Anthony, you had an early game at Liberty High School. Wow, what is going on here? Do me a favor, rip that one, throw that one away, and put the other one to you. I don't know what the heck just happened there.
All right, that's how.
Hold on.
I'm not 3 anymore. 2 now, right? 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. Hello.
Okay, well, this is weird. All right.
Wait. Oh, wow, that's bad.
Yeah, that's bad. I don't know what just happened here. Where's the other one?
Welcome to live. Well, see, I can hear.
Yeah, this is bizarre. Okay, these were all supposed to be good. And I don't know what just happened. All right, bizarre. All right, go ahead.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. That sounded a little bit better.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit better.
Yeah, I had a Champion at Liberty, and it was one of those games where you could tell that Champion knew that it was a must-win, with Brookfield and Champion both coming in with 2 losses in the MVAC into that night, and Champion wanted to keep pace with Brookfield, and they came out strong. They had a 26-5 first quarter lead, and then Liberty cut it to 6, and then Champion sped away, and then Liberty cut it back down to 3, and then Champion ended up ending the game on a 14-4 run to win by, I think, 14. So, game of runs, Liberty is dangerous. They're young, but they're also inconsistent. So, that team can either be really hot or really tough and really hard in the tournament to deal with, because they are athletic, they are fast, and when they're clicking, they can really run out on you. So I think Liberty's still very dangerous, and Champion is starting to find a lot more of a groove on offense than the last time I saw them against Poland, which was like their second game of the year. They're starting to hit threes. They hit 5 threes in the first quarter, and it's balanced. So I think Champion's going to be dangerous as that 4 seed down in Northeast too.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see who wins this division. I mean, this has just been a really, really good MVAC gray tier. Has been all kinds of awesome this year. And Crestview knocked off Brookfield last night, 44-35. The Rebels send Brookfield to their 3rd loss of the season. And when you consider 2 of those 3 losses have come against 2 of 3 Brookfield losses have come against Crestview, That's I don't know what it is about the Rebels and their dominance over Brookfield, but it's abundantly apparent. And I made mention last night there is a chance 2 weeks from last night, Crestview and Brookfield could be playing each other for a chance to go to the district championship game. So that's one of those crazy situations where Brookfield had better find a way to figure out Crestview. Well, first of all, they both have to win 2 tournament games, and there's you shouldn't be assuming that you get to the district semifinals. But if it's chalk, they would meet each other in the district semifinals, and then you wonder if Brookfield can play with this team because they just didn't look good last night.
They can play with them. They just have to play better. It was a competitive game last night. Pretty close. What was the final?
44-35, I think the final score was.
Some free throws late maybe pulled the Rebels away, but they just don't match up well against Crestview. I was watching that game a little bit because I got out early. They just don't match up well for whatever reason. They couldn't really keep Krista Perry quiet, and it's not a great matchup for Brookfield. They're going to have to make some adjustments if they see them again in the tournament.
Yeah, it was a bizarre night all the way around. It was a good defensive performance by both teams, and you felt like Brookfield was in the game. It was 17-14 at the intermission, and then Crestview exploded in the third quarter, had a 13-point lead. That lead went down to 4. But Brookfield was just never able to get over the top, and then Crestview turned around and started breaking away from Brookfield in the fourth quarter, mainly by hitting some 1-and-1 free throws. So Crestview gets the win, 44-35. You and I were both looking at the game of the night last night in Salem between West Branch and Salem. Now, these two teams are in separate district brackets where you will not see each other at any point in time unless both teams win a district championship. Then they would play in the regional semifinals. But West Branch is in midseason form. They're ready for the tournament. And Salem, they're on a bit of a losing skid. Salem probably needs to... They need to get a one more game in which they can win a game to get into the tournaments on a happy note.
And unfortunately, their game tonight got canceled because the opponent was COVID tested. So unfortunately for them, they missed tonight's game. But yeah, Salem they've had a couple of stoppages this season, and it's hard to stop and go. And after their last quarantine, they just haven't looked quite like the Salem we saw throughout the whole season. They look a little bit different. They're struggling on offense. Their defense is still legit. They held West Branch, 44? I think it was 44 points?
Yeah, 43-33.
43-33.
Yeah.
So their defense is holding people, and they held Canton South to 24 points. That wins 9 games out of 10, but unfortunately, that 10th game, Salem scored 20.
Well, West Branch, when they're on, they play solid defense.
They do.
They're now officially on. The last few games, they have done a very nice job of locking down on the opponent. And Coach DeShield's team, I think they're ready for the tournament.
And they came in motivated. They did not want to be the team to lose twice to Salem in one season at West Branch. This is not their culture. They have a winning culture. They look up in the rafters. They see all the success of the girls program down there, and they came into that game, you could tell, with a little bit of an edge because they were not going to be the team in West Branch that loses twice to Salem.
All right, coming up on the program today, we will hear from Dre Smith, the YSU women's broadcaster. YSU playing some really, really good basketball. We'll get Dre's comments prior to this weekend. Youngstown State on the road. I believe they're at IUPUI this weekend. That's Indiana University, Purdue University of Indianapolis, for those wondering. Yeah, that's a mouthful, hence the term IUPUI. We'll hear from Dre, and then we will have the head basketball coach.
Cardinal Mooney, yep.
Cardinal Mooney's head basketball coach will be Yes, he will be joining us at 2:30 this afternoon, and we'll talk Cardinal Mooney girls basketball. And again, Mooney will be in the D2 district tournament.
Dangerous
and
9 seed.
They are
Dangerous 9
yes,
seed.
they're a very dangerous 9 seed. We've made mention D2 is absolutely loaded. Not just the boys, the girls tournament is absolutely loaded as well. And for Cardinal Mooney to be the 9 seed in Division II, that just cements further the point of just how impressive this tournament is going to be in Division II.
You got to think in a lot of other districts they would be maybe a 5 seed or a 4 seed, but D2 is just so deep that they drop down to 9, and that makes them very dangerous.
You know, I take a look at Cardinal Mooney. They will be opening up their tournament play against Youngstown East, and if they win, they'll take on the winner of Southeast and West Geauga. Now, Southeast is the 8 seed, so if Cardinal Mooney happens to beat Youngstown East, which they should be able to do, and no guarantees, but Southeast, the 8 seed, West Geauga, the 11 seed.
Yeah.
If Southeast wins, Mooney has to travel. If West Geauga wins, Mooney can play at home for the sectional title again.
Yeah, and West Geauga is a sleeper. They're 11, but they play a tough schedule. They're a very talented team, and they're going to make some noise in that tournament before it's said and done. So West Geauga is not someone you can sleep on.
Well, and certainly Poland has an easy road in that they take on the winner of Jefferson and Paynesville-Harvey. Then Poland wins. They go into the district semifinals. They took a bye to the regional or to the sectional championship game.
Their district semifinal would be against either. I mean, I'm sorry, East. I'm gonna just for argument's sake, I'm gonna put Mooney in that game. Mooney, West Geauga, or Southeast. All three of those teams pose very legitimate threats. They're very talented, and I think. That's not exactly. I mean, we were talking about this whole district. It's not an easy draw for a district semifinals for Poland.
No, it certainly isn't. And then on the other side, Marlington gets the winner of Girard and Hubbard. Well, you would figure Marlington will get into that. Cheney plays West Branch, the winner getting Alliance. If West Branch is going to go into the district championship game, they may have to go old school EBC and get through not one, but 2 league opponents who they've already played twice this year.
Here's the thing. Alliance is shut down until tournaments. So they're not even going to have practice time to get ready for that game. They're going to be shut down until that game. So, that's all I have to say.
And that's not a better get Mako That's a you're in deep doo-doo
Because your first opponent after quarantine is going to be West Branch in tournaments, who we've already said Coach DeShields and that team just kind of flips a little bit of a second gear in tournament play. I mean, I think last year they were kind of under the radar. I don't think people expected them to even get out of districts. They expected Poland to repeat and come back and win that district, and they beat Poland, and then they went right out to the state semifinals, and they beat a really good Laurel team to get there. So I think West Branch this year is a 5 seed. Oh man, they're scary. They're scary.
Well, and obviously Marlington is pretty scary too. I mean, they did beat West Branch once already this year. Twice. Twice. You're right. West Branch would have to play them if they continued to win in the district semifinals, barring an upset. If it's chalk, Marlington would have to play West Branch, a team that Marlington has beaten 2 times this year. The districts itself, holy smokes. You could be looking at Poland taking on Mooney or Southeast or West Geauga. Any of those 3 teams can give Poland a nightmare. And then on the other side, a potential matchup with West Branch and Marlington. That's a heck of an interesting district tournament in D2.
And then if West Branch wins that game and Poland wins, if it goes chalk that way, It would be a rematch of last year's district championship that West Branch won by 1 point. So that would be a wild one. Down, it would be in Poland. So, you know.
Entertaining to say the least.
I think that whole Poland team will remember the feeling of losing to West Branch on that floor and maybe come out with a little bit of an edge that they really don't. I mean, they're almost never the underdogs. And they'd still be the favorites in that game, but I think them themselves would kind of internalize that underdog mentality because they lost to West Branch last year. So we might see a little edge from Poland in that game that we don't usually get to see.
Well, you get an awful lot of basketball that have to be played until we get to that district championship. And we're just, as members of the media, we always love to look ahead. That's what members of the media do. We always look ahead, and the coaches look at us and say, why are you doing this? It's one day at a time, which we should probably listen and pay heed to that.
We're not the heads of a program, so we can look ahead all we want.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. We're also hyping up something that may very well happen, and there's no, there's nothing wrong with hyping up something that could very well be down the road.
By the way, last night, Coach Blanche for Poland got his 200th career victory at the helm of the Poland girls basketball program. I'd be interested to do some research because Ken Grisdale has 500, and he's just the 47th coach in the state of Ohio to ever do that. And then you have Nick Blanche with 200. That might be combined the most of any school in the active with right now not ever but active with combined program wins for the two coaches.
I would say
700
active
is a tall number.
Yeah, I would say active is that's a pretty impressive number. Although when Alan Burns and Ron Michella were both doing their thing in Boardman, that was a pretty large number as well. I don't know how many wins Alan Burns wound up having. I know Michella's over 500. He's one of the 44 coaches that has gotten over 500 wins. I believe John Ritz at Leetonia last year got his 500th win, if I'm not mistaken, or did he get 400? I'm not sure which one he got, but it was a milestone for Coach Ritz as well. So but only 44 coaches in high school basketball, in the history of high school basketball, which is close to 100 years. In Ohio, only 44 coaches have ever hit 500 wins. And you think about it, if you're there for 30 years, you still have to average 16 plus wins a year in order to get to 500. That's an amazing accomplishment. You better be prepared to coach basketball for about 35 years if you want to be a 500 win type of coach.
Right. I mean, King Grisdale's been doing it for 28, and he's had a very successful career. It still took him that long to get to 500. You'll only get guaranteed 22 games in a season. So you divide that. I mean, I can't do the mental math because I'm not a math major, but 500 divided by 22.
It's a lot of wins.
That's
500 divided by 30 years is 16.67 wins per year.
You have to average a little bit more than that since it's 28 years instead of 30.
Yeah.
So that's impressive. That's. I think his overall record when he got 500 was like 500 and 155.
Yeah,
so it took him just under 650, just over 650 games to get 500 wins. Which is just unreal.
Yeah, we made mention that for Grisdale, this being his 28th year, he had to average, if Poland never won another game, which they have, you would have to average 17.86 wins a year over 28 years in order to get to 500 career wins. Now, keep in mind, when he started, basketball was not 22 games. It was 20.
Right.
So that's even more impressive in that, what did he play? 650 games out of 28. That's an average of 23.21 games per year, and you're winning 17.86 of those games. So essentially 18-5 every year for 28 years. That's crazy. That's just that is the very definition of what a great program is. I mean, that's just an unbelievable mark. Hence the reason why you get to 500 wins. My goodness, that's crazy.
That's also a winning percentage of 763, by the way, 500 and 155.
Yeah.
So that's a career winning percentage of basically 76% when you get wins.
So that's essentially 3 out of every 4 games.
Right.
A little over 3 out of every 4 games. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. But again, I mean, that just is, once again, it reminds everyone just how great the record is, just how great you have to be.
And all of that great, it still took him 28 years. So this puts into perspective how rare it is to see 500 and how hard it is to get there. Because even when Drysdale, 76 win percentage throughout his career, still took him 28 years. So you'd be hard pressed to do it in much less time. I mean, you'd have to go 500 and 72 to get it in less than 28 years.
We're going to take a time out. Let me see if we can fix this microphone situation here. We got a live radio at its finest. We'll take a time out, be back with more. It is a Thursday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. We're back in a bit. Stick around.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Klim from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
Did it work? Oh, look at that.
Yes.
Huzzah!
Yes.
Speaking of we were talking about milestones before the break. Also, Coach Walt DeShields, 2 wins away from 300.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's all he has.
Well, that's it? Just 300?
I mean, well, no, I'm looking at this and I'm like, hasn't he been around that program a lot longer?
Well, it took 28 years to get 500, so he could be there for 18 years and still probably have, I don't know exactly what his tenure is, but, 20 years would probably put you at 300.
Well, 20 wins at 300 is 15 wins a year.
Right.
So, I mean, that's solid. But when you think of West Branch, you're thinking of a lot more than 15 wins a year because that team normally gets a lot more than 15 wins a year. So that's why I didn't mean to say it in a. Oh my God, that's it. God, you're terrible. No, I didn't mean it like that. I meant I was a little surprised because when you think of West Branch, you're thinking of a program that gets a hell of a lot more than 15 wins a year, and 20 years, 15 wins a year, you're getting 300 wins.
You just poo-pooed 300.
I poo-pooed 300. Yeah, that's just that's awful. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to poo-poo a large number like that.
Walt Shields will never call in again.
Well, there you go. I mean, has he called in anyway?
Yeah, we got him at the beginning of the season.
That's true. He did. No, I it's not that I poo-pooed the number. I was thinking to myself, what was it? He should have a hell of a lot more than 300. I mean, good Lord. Here's West Branch. They closed out their season 18-4. They played 22 games.
18-4, and that was a quote-unquote down year for West Branch.
Well, let's also look at this and say, without any hesitation, you were able to play your entire regular season schedule with all the COVID hurdles and the pitfalls and whatnot. And look, I mean, it's not just we got to avoid our part of COVID. We also have to hope that the opposition that we're playing is going to be able to avoid COVID so we can play these kids. I just think anyone that's able to get through their entire regular season, bravo to you. That's an amazing accomplishment in and of itself.
And now they have a week off because they didn't get the bye, right? They have a week off before they start tournament play. So, I mean, ideally you'd like to end the season on like the Saturday.
Sure.
But beggars can't be choosers. You got 22 games in. You got to be happy with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We got to mention a couple of other teams that played last night.
Plus, we do have a really big game to preview tonight because East Palestine won last night.
Yes.
And that sets up a monster game tonight in United.
Yeah, it does. Palestine is going to play United tonight. Palestine went to Letonia, beat the Bears 38-34. This game was officially a tough game for the Bears when they got out to a really, really slow start in the first quarter. Palestine led 12-2 at the end of one. The Bears shot just 12 of 44 from the floor, and I'd hate to say most of those misses might have come in that first quarter.
Well, yeah, and then you think about it, they won the rest of the game.
Yeah, they did.
It's hard to come back from a hold like that when you score 2 points in a quarter.
So they drop a 4-point decision to East Palestine, and as we mentioned, United is waiting in the wings. Now the EOAC.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. I was wondering if you were going to get that. The EOAC has made a decision that I'm going to be very curious to hear what you have to say about this. They had an AD meeting yesterday, and the EOAC has decided on 2 champions in girls basketball. They have decided to do a first half champion and an overall champion because of COVID. So the first half champion is going to go to Valley Christian, if I'm not mistaken. They were 6-1, so they're going to have the first half championship in the EOAC, and the regular season champion is going to be, or I should say, the overall champion is going to be the winner of United and East Palestine. I don't understand any of that. Now they're not doing this in boys basketball, by the way. They're only doing this in girls basketball. They have decided not to do this in boys basketball. It's just going to be in girls basketball, which I don't understand in any way, shape, or form. I don't get that.
I don't. What do you say to that? I mean, like, I get that some of the EOAC teams didn't really get to play the first half of the season. So you kind of go, well, can we give, if East Palestine wins tonight, but they didn't play all the EOAC teams, then you go, hey, did they earn a championship through the and then you go, okay, well, we'll just give them the overall champion, but we'll give the first half champion to Valley Crit. I don't know. It's hard to rationalize.
Okay, EOAC Commissioner Howard Friend had this to say. I'm going to read his quotes. These are unusual circumstances we're dealing with. We're trying to be fair to all the schools in our league and the kids. Friend said that the league is expected to name a first-half champion, Valley Christian. He said the athletic directors were in agreement pending approval by the superintendents. Quoting a Friend again, several weeks ago we put it out there we were going to have a champion based on one round. At that time, we had 4 girls teams that were paused. As the season went along, we were able to, with some adjustments, get the top teams to play out the season. United is not going to play Lisbon twice this season. Instead, Lisbon is hosting Wellsville. Others won't be playing league teams twice in this year either. Look, I understand to a degree.
It's become 1981 MLB.
Yeah, exactly. I understand to a degree what you're doing, but why don't you just do this? Instead of what we would normally do, which is 14-game league schedule, you would be whoever wins the most games, you're the champion. Why don't you just go percentage basis? Whoever has the highest win percentage wins the league championship. I mean, look, we both said this before football season started, Anthony. We both said this.
Right.
COVID is going to make sure that none of this stuff is fair.
Right. What we say about that word fair, if you want to play, you have to take fair
out of the equation.
Sprinkle it up, throw it behind your shoulder. Because
exactly.
I mean, you try to be fair, and they're making an effort to be fair, but at the same sense, the definition of fair has to be tilted a little bit during COVID if you want to play, go forward and play. Because really, fair would have been let's just not play. Not fair to the kids, but fair to everyone on the same playing field.
Sure.
That's the only way to do it during COVID, to have everyone at the same exact playing field to say, we're not playing. Because with COVID, you're going to have teams that have to shut down, teams that don't. It's just that's the reality. So I get it, and then the question is, how much do you really, if you're Valley Christian, how excited are you that you're the first half champion? I mean, you get a plaque, you get to say we're the champions, but we're not the overall champions. It's like, how does that sit with those players and those coaches to say, and then does it slight the overall champion to say, yeah, you're the overall champion,
but they're the first half champion.
You're not the first half champion.
Yeah, that's just I don't get that.
If United wins tonight and they end the season 16-6 and I think 8-2 in the EOAC.
Well, do they play all 22 games because they're not playing their entire EOAC schedule?
Right, but I think they made up with out of conference games because I don't think they were shut down.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that they're 15-6 right now, and they would be 16-6 if they won tonight.
Okay.
And then with a league record of 2 losses.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly how many EOAC.
Yeah, because they will have played everyone twice except for Lisbon.
Right.
That's the only team that they will have not played twice. So that's 13 games.
13, so they'd be 11-2, right?
Yeah, they would be 11-2 if they beat Palestine tonight.
So I mean, you take a team that's 16-6, 11-2, and you say, well, you're the overall champion, but you're not the first half champion because you lost the game to Valley Christian back in December or January or whatever it was. I don't know when that cutoff is.
By the way, the boys are not going to be doing this because all the boys' games are going to be scheduled.
Right.
So that's the reason why they're not doing this. Okay, I mean, I understand the originality. I understand you want to please a lot of people. Look, you're not in the pleasing business. That's just and first of all, you're not in the pleasing business. Secondly, I am not exactly going to be too happy if I'm a first half champion, but I'm not an overall champion. I mean, that's just okay. That first half championship and $1 will get you a newspaper. Thanks a lot.
If East Palestine wins tonight, it becomes a mess.
Well, absolutely it does because Palestine only lost 2 league games.
Right, but they've played
I think they're 6-2 in the league.
Right, so they played 8 games compared to 13.
Yeah.
It becomes a mess if East Palestine pulls off the upset.
But see, this is the reason why I think you go by winning percentage, and you just go from there. Look, I mean, if United happens to lose this game to Palestine tonight, 10 out of 13 is a win percentage of 769. All right, 769 is United's win percentage if they lose that game. 6 out of 8 is 750 for East Palestine. So you would still give the league championship to United based on the fact that they would have a higher win percentage than East Palestine. I mean, I'm not saying that it's that you should be shunning East Palestine based on the fact they only played eight league games. I'm just saying the highest win percentage should win you the championship because that is the fair thing to do.
It's not a knock on East Palestine. It's just a reality of like we said, COVID has made fair.
Yeah, you throw it out the window.
So it's not a knock to say, well, East Palestine, you didn't have the winning percentage to stack up to United, even though you split with them. It's not a knock. It's just the reality is United was able to play more games than you, and it's one of those. It's not fair. It's nothing East Palestine's fault. It's just one of those things that what do you do? I mean, East Palestine played more, and because of that, they went through the grind of the season. Because of that, they earned that championship if they win, and they have the higher winning percentage. But that's not how it's going to be done. So we have to deal with the reality that it's not how it's going to be done. And United, if you're United, you go take care of business. And I think internally you still have to be very proud of the overall champion. Then you let the chips fall where they may. You let the EOAC, if they want to give a championship first half to Valley Christian, I don't think you let yourselves worry about that if you're United.
Look, if I'm United, forget about the league for a second. And I will say what I just said about West Branch. If you're able to play an entire 22-game schedule, I don't care if you won every single game or if you lost every single game. If you played your entire 22-game league or 22-game schedule, you should be damn proud of your team for getting through what is probably the single most screwed up basketball season anyone will have ever gone through, and for years people are going to be remembering this year for being the year that everything was screwed up.
And look, East Palestine's been a really screwed up season for the wrong reasons because they just haven't been able to get on the floor, and your heart kind of breaks for that program because they came into this year, everyone back, and everyone was so high expectations for that East Palestine program, and the COVID. It's out of their control. The fact that they had to get shut down and everything, and the fans in East Palestine are not quite happy, and I get it. It sucks. It's not fair, but we said it again. We've said it before. Fair goes away when you're playing through a pandemic. If you want to play, if you want the kids out there to play on the court, fair, it gets shifted a little bit. It's still there. They still try to make it as fair as possible. It's not like we're just saying fair. Well, screw fair. We're gonna play unfairly. No, but the definition of fair gets skewed a little bit, and you have to sacrifice a little bit of fairness to deal with the reality of the situation.
Yeah, and it sucks for Palestine.
It does.
It really does.
Sucks.
I mean, it's just the fact of the matter that all of these kids were coming back. This was going to be a really, really good year, and it has been really good year for Palestine when they're on the floor.
So many seniors on that team, and they've all worked hard to get to where they are this senior year, and it's been derailed by something that's, like I said, completely out of their control.
Absolutely. Now, the good news for Palestine is, all right, you're only going to be 9 games into your season. All right, I understand that. And you're probably going to be a little short in terms of game experience going into the tournament. However, you do get into the tournament, and you're going to take on, in the first round, a beatable Burton Berkshire team. Now, you got to go to Burton, unfortunately, because Palestine is seeded 15th.
Yeah, that placement is tough for East Palestine. Getting the 15 seed, you have to travel for your first tournament game, and then if you win,
you get South Range.
You get placed right in the 1 seed. I mean, it's
that's a tough tournament draw.
It's not fair.
But you can also use that
right
as and I hate when people say Cleveland versus the world. I hate that crap because it's not anything close to reality. But if you want to use that moniker, East Palestine against the world, and have that kind of attitude going into the tournament, have at it. Whatever gets you fired up, have at it here.
And have at it tonight. I mean, because you go and you beat United, that's a big win. And then
Absolutely
you can kind of, even if they don't recognize you as a champion or whatever, you can say, hey, we lost 2 games, they lost 2 games, we split with them, we beat them in United, we share the title with United. And no matter what anyone else outside of your program says, you say that, you believe that, that's all that matters.
That's it.
So
that's it. So I mean, look, I feel bad for Palestine. I feel bad for every school that has not played a large amount of games, but especially Palestine, because they've had to go through COVID not once but twice.
Champion's dealing with the same thing. I mean, they were shut down for a long time in the season. Then they had to deal with their own shutdown because they were Trumbull County, so they were shut down for the whole month of December, and then they had their own quarantine mixed in there. They came out and they used it as a battle cry, and plus, unlike East Palestine, they lost almost their whole core from last year's district championship team. So they had Emma Gumont and Brooke Witt coming back. Those were the only 2 starters from last year's championship team, if I'm correct with that. So you come back and you're like, hey, we got a bunch of people that have to learn on the fly. And you saw the first 2 games, they were trying to find an offensive rhythm. Well, they found it, and now they're right in line for an MVAC championship because Brookfield lost last night.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens
both
there.
These teams, East Palestine and Champion, have dealt with the unfortunate circumstances that they've been put in, but you either make moves or you make excuses. And both of them are making moves, and both of them, well, Champion won, well, not won. They're in first place now, and East Palestine has a chance tonight. So you make moves or you make excuses when life hands you adversity, and both those programs making moves.
No, I thought it was a great win last night in Leetonia. I thought Leetonia would get their revenge on Palestine after losing to Palestine. Congratulations to East Palestine for getting the victory in Leetonia last night. That's a solid solid win.
Didn't let Taryn Ferry do too much.
No, she only scored 3 points.
So
and Ella Gregorino only scored 6.
You do that to Latonia, you're in good shape.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the 2 leading scorers, Megan Roscoe and Allison Frankoski, they scored 17 between them. Now, if John Ritz is looking at this box score, he's looking at this and saying, okay, wait a second.
If you guys do this and Taryn and
Ella Gregorino gets going,
theirs?
Leetonia is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Now, that's just the thing. I mean, you got to get Ella Gregorino and Taryn Ferry to go. But then if you get Haley Brock, Megan Roscoe, Allison Frankoski all on the same page, all being that 3rd and 4th and 5th option, and everyone's moving in the same direction. No, Leetonia's going to be fun to watch.
Of course, easier said than done because they probably had a lot of open spaces because the defenses were so focused on stopping Taryn Ferry and stopping Gregorino. So, potato, but you'll watch the film and you'll tell those girls, if you score like this and have this mentality, and then we can get Taryn and Ella some space, then we're going to be really a hard team to beat.
Yeah. Now, the problem, and it goes with any school that has a 1-2 punch or a 1 punch. In Brookfield, you have Hook, and you do have Audrey Reardon, who hit a couple of threes and got hot in the second or third quarter toward the end. Audrey wound up hitting 3 threes last night. Hook had a shaky night last night.
She's fun to watch,
but she is a lot of fun to watch. Now, if you're able to clamp down on one or both of those kids, then yeah, sure, you should be able to get the victory. But any coach that's on the opposite end of a team that has 1 or 2 dominant scorers, that coach has a decision to make. I mean, this was, you go back to boys basketball when Zach Razil was playing at McDonald. A lot of teams wanted to sit back and go, okay, well, we have a decision to make. Do we let Zach Razil get his 40-plus points and we shut down the talent around him? Or do we shut down Zach Razil and say, you're not going to beat us with just this guy. Somebody else is going to have to step in and shoulder a lot of the scoring because we're not going to let him score 40 points and let McDonald beat us that way. And some coaches decided, okay, we're going to try to accept that challenge of trying to slow down Zach Rizil, hoping that the other 4 are shut down. And then other coaches were like, no, I think it's easier to shut the other 4 guys down and let Zach just get his. Either way, McDonald was winning in either direction last year.
Yeah, now you watch that offense and they look a little bit more balanced. And they look a little
Absolutely.
bit more as a unit. And that makes them more dangerous.
So come tournament time, when you look at a team like Brookfield or Crestview, because it's Krista Perry, and then you have a couple of other options. With Leetonia, it's Ella Gregorino and Taryn Ferry. When you have schools that have 1 or 2 dominant scorers and the rest of them are role players who will get theirs, and when they win, they get theirs more frequently. How do you go about stopping those type of teams? Do you, if you're coaching against Crestview, do you put the clamps on Krista Perry and say, I am going to not allow this girl to beat my team. I'm going to instead put the onus on Mara Hallis, put the onus on Carson Moore, McKenna Schultz, Peyton Huff, Ashton Hughes. I'm going to put the onus on those kids because I'm not going to let Krista Perry beat me. I'm not going to let her score 20-some-odd points and be a disruption on defense.
And the greatest thing is when you see teams with that one punch or the 1-2 punch, the differences between the teams that regularly succeed with that and the teams that don't are those other players buying into their roles, accepting their roles, and then executing their roles. Because we see down in Poland, we see Jackie Grisdale scoring 17, 18 points a game, and then everyone else just accepting their roles and chipping in 6, 7, maybe a couple players in 10 every now and then. You do that, you can win. Now the other side of it is you have players that want to be the superstar too, and the egos get in the way, and that happens in boys and girls basketball, and we see it. Then you don't accept your roles, and you're not going and scoring 10, 6, 8 because you're trying to rush shots, you're trying to, score more than you should, whatever it may be. So you have to accept your roles, buy into your roles, and then execute your roles for that to work. Because when teams try to shut down your superstar, your leading scorer, it's going to open up a lot of things for the other players if they accept their roles and execute them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I mean, you just brought up Poland.
They're 19-1.
Poland also has a pretty nice 2 and 3 option other than Jackie Grisdale. But if a coach wants to sit back and say, I'm going to put 2 girls on Jackie Grisdale at all times, and I'm going to run a high triangle defense where the 2 girls in my triangle are going to be in the 3-point line, and my 1 girl back is going to be in the middle of the lane. And we're just going to run this kind of a defense. And, and just basically dare Poland to beat my team without Jackie Grisdale. And let's see what happens.
And teams have done it. And Jackie Grisdale finds ways to impact the game, no matter, even if she's not scoring, which is a testament to her. I mean, even if she's not scoring, she's getting rebounds, she's making defensive stops, she's gonna turn you over on defense. So she finds, no matter what, she's gonna impact the game. And then, like you said, the other players in Poland's program have accepted their role, and they'll go and they'll score their 8 points, they'll score their 6 points, they'll get their rebounds, they'll defend really well, and that's how they win all the games they do. Because everyone in that room knows their roles, accepts their roles, and executes them on the floor.
I just think it's going to be very interesting. You can't do this against a balanced team, where if you have 4 or 5 kids that are close to double digits and they're all in sync and they're doing their thing.
How many teams in the area are a true balanced team where they have 3 or 4 players that can easily go score 25 points on you a night? Not too many. There aren't too many.
But if you have 3 or 4 kids that are in double digits, that's a tough team to defend. I mean, there's a reason why the Boardman Well, actually, Boardman isn't a great example. The Boardman boys are a great example. The Struthers boys are a great example. And even McDonald is a great example.
And I would throw Springfield in there because there are 4 players on that team
absolutely.
that can absolutely go off and beat you.
By the way, McDonald and Springfield playing on Friday night in Springfield. It's unfortunate that we won't have a sellout crowd, but I mean, come tournament time, for me, the team that goes a lot further is going to be the team that has that balance and not one or two players that you have to have. If one goes off, you got a good chance. If both of them go off, you got a really good chance at winning. Give me the team that has more balance come postseason, because I think that team goes longer in the long run.
And back to the EOAC for a bit, because I know we had this conversation about, and this I've been thinking about it and rolling it in my head. There are other conferences that couldn't play all their games, and they just simply said, we're not going to crown a champion this year.
There you go.
EOAC, whether it's perfect, whether it's great, whether we, like every single move they're making steps to say we're going to crown a champion. And you got to respect that, because
I definitely do.
There are other conferences that are just saying, well, you know what, we're just going to go out and play. We're not going to have an official league champion this year, and we're just going to say the COVID's the reason why.
Well, let me ask you.
I kind of respect at least making efforts to say there is a conference champion this year.
Okay, so I think you're going to answer my question, but let me ask you. If you're the head coach of a team in any conference, and they give you the choice of, we're not going to crown a league champion this year, or we're going to crown a league champion, but it's going to be a little different and a little skewed, and it might ruffle some feathers, which one are you doing?
It depends where I'm at. Like, the EOAC is so tightly contested. If I was a coach in the EOAC, I'd say, give us the skewed championship or the MVAC gray tier, because there are so many teams clustered in that top, and it's hard to just say one team or two teams are fighting for a championship. Like in the NE8, it's like, hey, what are you going to do? It's South Range Poland. It's Struthers and the boys. I mean,
well, it is Struthers and the boys.
They've gone and they've earned it. They're putting themselves there, and there's no one else that's really fighting them for a championship. So you don't really need a plaque to say you're the NE8 champions.
Yeah.
So with that, the NE8 can just keep their hands clean and not worry about ruffling feathers, because everyone kind of knows.
Yeah, but if, okay, let's assume for a second we go to girls basketball. Let's assume for a second Poland beats South Range on Saturday.
Right.
There's no ruffling of feathers.
No, they're the NE8
They're
champs.
the NE8 champs. I mean, they beat South Range twice.
But they didn't play all their games. So
well, that's
why
true.
The NE8 is saying,
and I get that, but they beat the second best team, or the other team that's supposed to be in that conversation. They beat them twice. Now, if South Range beats Poland, which is a distinct possibility, by the way, on Saturday, now you can sit back and go, hey, there's a reason why we're not crowning a league champion. We're getting away from this stuff. And you guys can do whatever you want to do, but we ain't crowning a league champion this year. That's just not going to happen.
Is the MVAC, they've played, are they doing a championship? Do you know? Like, are they crowning it? Because
I have no idea.
Right now, champions up top, and they haven't played all their league games.
No, they haven't.
They're not going to.
And they're not going to. Yeah, I mean, the season ends on Saturday. I mean, do they have one more game?
They're 6-2 after the win last night, I think, in the MVAC.
Yeah, but I mean, do they have one more game to play? Because Brookfield just lost their third league game last night to Crestview, and third game overall, by the way. I mean, if Champion doesn't have another game,
it's either tonight or Saturday.
Yeah,
I don't know their schedule. So
I mean, I know. Well, Crestview's well out of it because they've lost, I think, 5 or 6 league games.
The two in it really were Champion and Brookfield.
Yeah,
and Brookfield just lost, and now Champion's ahead. But Brookfield's played more games in the league.
Now, is Brookfield and Champion played both times?
Yeah, they split.
Well, see, you can't make an argument.
Chaos. Brookfield won the first time when Champion was trying to find their legs, and then Champion beat them by like 4 or 5 the next time.
I mean, you can't make an argument one way or the other. And unfortunately, this all goes back to what we have said from the get-go in the beginning of the fall. If we're going to be playing sports in this environment, here's COVID. Out the window.
Fair, yeah.
Fair is out the window when it comes to COVID. It's everyone can argue about a league championship. Here's an idea: instead of moaning and groaning about a league championship,
don't win a tournament.
Go be satisfied with the fact that you were able to play a season,
right?
Let alone whatever amount of games you played. Be thankful you
Right.
were able to play a season.
And I know that's hard in the thick of competition, but at the end of the day, you got to have perspective a little bit and be like, we played.
Yeah, go ask the spring athletes, and some of you are the spring athletes. Just how important playing a game is in high school sports. Go ask the senior softball and baseball and track and field players of the class of 2020 that got absolutely screwed last year from playing their senior year in sports. COVID's not fair. It just isn't fair. You're going to argue and moan and groan about a league championship?
Hey, and here's the other thing. They are giving out district championships.
That's it.
And you have the opportunity.
You want to? They're bringing out sectional titles too. I mean, look. I mean, when I go into any school and I see banners, sectional titles are part of a banner in their school.
You know, for if they don't give champion the MVAC championship because we didn't play all of our games and we're just not gonna. If they decide to do that, champion has a legit shot of going and winning the district championship.
I think they do.
So, okay, we were not a league champion. We're a district champion. That means a lot more than winning the MVAC, in my opinion. I think the players would say that too. Hey, would you rather win the MVAC and not win the district, or would you rather win the district and not win the MVAC? I'd probably rather win a district because that's I got that feeling. You fought through it. You cut down the nets. You know, you have the district crown. You're going and you're a top 16 team in the state. So
years and years and years ago. The old argument was, and by the way, champion is seeded fourth in the upcoming Division
Northeast
3
2.
tournament,
Right.
Northeast 2.
With Garfield
and the team that they would have to get past is Garrettsville Garfield,
which
the
they
2,
lost by 2,
and Ursuline, the 5, who they would probably wind up playing in the district semifinals if it's chalk.
That'd be a fun game down in Warren.
And it would be at Champion High School because they're the higher seed.
Right.
Way back in the day, and this I think it was more prevalent for football than anything else because only the select few got into the playoffs in football. You had a conversation way back when you only had 2 and 4 teams in each region, which was absurd back then, but that's how they did it. When you only had 2 or 4 teams per region, the argument was, well, which one do you want? Do you want your league championship or do you want an opportunity to go to the playoffs? Now, obviously, if you have your choice, back in those days, it was, well, we want our league championship first because if we don't win a league title, chances are we're not going to be listed as one of those top 2 or top 4 teams. Now that you've got 8, and then in this coming year it will be 12, the league championship doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's still nice.
You want it.
You
Because
want
those are
it.
your rivals. Those are the teams you play every year.
But
You
it's
say
not
you're
a
the
priority
best.
anymore.
But if you sacrifice that for a tournament run or a playoff run in football, I think you'd take it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not priority number 1 anymore. Priority number 1 is becoming a playoff team, so you have that opportunity to get that second season and go as far as you can. And oh, by the way, if you get a league title along the way, that's all well and good. Basketball's a little bit different.
Everyone gets in.
You know, basketball's a little different. Everybody gets in. But let's be honest. I mean, you know your limitations. You know that you're probably going to fizzle out in a district or in a regional. So what's more important, winning a league championship or making a long tournament run? People are going to sit back and go, give me the league title. Because how many people are going to remember that you went to a district title game and got blown out, or you went to a district semifinal, but you didn't win a district title. Now, if you win a district title, and maybe this is coming from someone, well, it is coming from someone whose team never won a district championship in boys basketball and still to this day has never won a district championship in boys basketball. That would probably be the only thing that would be, in my opinion, more important than a league championship. If I was coaching a team in the EOAC and I looked at this, or any league, and my team had never won a district title, I'm going to be like, I want this league championship. But if you're telling me I don't get a league title, but I win a district championship, I'll even be happier because that would mean that my team gets the first district championship in school history. I'd be happy as hell with that.
Especially if it winds up that you beat one of the teams that beat you out for a championship to get to that point.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because then you can say, keep your league title, man. We got the district title and we beat you to get it.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, let's put our thinking caps on here and fast forward.
I got the engineer cap.
You get the engineer cap on and the engineer hoodie on. 2 weeks from yesterday, and I made mention of this, Brookfield and Champion, if it's chalk, if they take care of their business, will play a district semifinal game in Brookfield High School. Or Brookfield and Crestview, I'm sorry. Will play a district semifinal game. If Brookfield doesn't win their league, hey, we get an opportunity to beat a team that Coach Forsyth said last week on our show haven't been able to beat Crestview before. For whatever reason, they just can't beat Crestview. What if those kids and they and Crestview play each other in a district semifinal 2 weeks from last night, and Brookfield knocks them off? They get momentum. They win a district championship. You think they're going to be moaning and groaning about an MVAC gray tier title? Hell no. They have just won a district championship. At that point in time, the league title is, okay, that's nice, but we just brought home district title hardware. We're one of the 16 best teams in the state of Ohio because we won a district championship. That's going to be a little bit more important than a league title at that point.
For most teams, that league championship is the first goal.
Absolutely it is.
It's not the only goal, and it's not the biggest goal. Especially for teams that have a legitimate shot of making a tournament run. You want to win your league, you want to take care of business in the league, but then you got your eyes on different things.
Absolutely.
You have your eyes on a district championship. You have your eyes on a regional championship.
Absolutely.
Whatever it may be. So you take if Poland beats South Range again, but South Range still goes and wins district and then wins their region and goes to a state semifinal, you think they're going to boo-hoo about their loss to Poland? I think they would.
I kind of doubt that.
They'd be upset about it still, and they'd carry that into next year because they still had to beat Poland, and they want to beat Poland really bad because
sure,
it's a strong team. They haven't beat them yet. They want to beat Poland.
Sure, but it's a feather in their cap because they're playing one division up.
But if I went to Coach Fitchell and said, "Would you rather beat Poland and then maybe make it to a regional semifinal, or would you rather, okay, we're going to lose to Poland, but that loss is going to carry us into." A state semifinal.
I'm taking the state semifinals.
Where do you balance it?
Yeah, I'm taking the state semifinals any day of the week. I mean, it just look at West Branch this year. I don't think they're going to be winning the NEC this year.
EBC.
The ABC.
ABC.
What is it? NBC.
No, it's Eastern Buckeye Conference.
EBC.
EBC.
Okay. What did I say
ABC.
before? No, not ABC. What was the other one that I said?
I think you said NEC. I think you were thinking
okay.
NEC.
That's all right.
Well, whatever. It's cool.
Yeah. The EBC. They're not winning the EBC this year.
Nope.
There's a really good chance they're winning a district championship if DeShields and those kids, and let's face it, they just allowed 33 points to Salem last night. They're in tournament mode now.
Yep.
If they win a district championship, do you honestly think that anyone's going to be looking back and saying, "Oh, we didn't win the league championship"? They're gonna gladly take another trip to the regional tournament, and now you're 2 wins away from going back to a state semifinal, and then hoping, knock on wood, that you don't get taken off the floor.
Right, 15 minutes
before your state semifinal game like last year. But no, I mean, they're not going to, you want to win your league championship, but by the same token, if somebody tells you, or if you go out and you get on an unbelievable tournament run and you wind up as one of the 4 best teams in the state, who cares if you didn't win your league title?
South Range's state championship in baseball, they didn't win the 88 that year.
They didn't even finish 500 that year.
Right.
I mean, do you honestly think
any of those guys remember that they didn't win the 88 and
hell no,
feel sorry about it?
They're strutting around with a state plaque and saying, "Hey, I got a ring, I got a state plaque trophy. I mean, we won the state championship." That's okay. The league is fine, but you got bigger fish to fry.
Right.
You got way bigger fish to fry. So, I mean, long story short,
now, for other teams, the league becomes really important because you know that, like you said, you have your limitations. you don't really expect that you're going to win a district championship, but you got a chance to win that league. You're playing well. You maybe upset a team early in the season. You want that league. So I don't want to take away from the importance of some programs to win the league championship when they're having a season that's maybe unexpected. Maybe they pulled off a dramatic win against the favorite or whatever it may be.
Sure. Well, there's okay. Now we're going to get into this conversation of basketball teams and programs because there's a big difference between the two. You can have a basketball team that's historically mediocre, historically been a 500 type of program. Every once in a while, if every star aligns, they have an unbelievable season, but it's not sustaining. For whatever reason, it just isn't sustaining. I'll say it. My alma mater is the greatest example of a program that has not sustained itself. For you have the perfect star alignment where you have a couple of seasons where, good Lord, this is a fun team, and man, the future's going to look good, and the 5 years later we're back to square one. But it has never been an established program. But every once in a while you get a pretty cool stretch. Okay, Leetonia boys. Leetonia girls actually can be, you can say the same thing, although 4 or 5 consecutive district championships in the turn of the century. I think 99 to 2004 they went to the regional tournament, and in 2 of those 5 years they went to a regional championship game and lost. Never went to the state finals or state semifinals. They were always beaten, whether it be the regional semis or the regional championship. But that was the last time they ever did anything of that level. They never went back to that level. They never even won a district championship since 2004. So either one. And the Leetonia boys have struggled for a number of years. But let's say next year they have an unexpected run in them where Coach Dennis has this team playing ridiculously good basketball. And they are starting to upset some teams early in the campaign. I'm 1,000,000% in agreement with you. I'm going to sit back and go, you know what? Forget about the tournament for a second. You guys have only won 1 league championship in the history of Leetonia schools. The 84-85 boys team is the only team that has ever won a league championship. So you have an opportunity to do something only one other team in school history has ever done. Go get that league championship, and then we'll worry about a tournament.
Look, we've said it before. Programs are built with steps. You have to take the steps. And in Leetonia's case, winning that league championship is that first step.
Oh, God, yeah.
And then you do what you can in the tournaments. And then next year you build off that. And you take the next steps. But the first step, for some programs,
for a lot of programs in this area, the first step is winning a league title.
Winning a league championship. Going and beating the teams that are usually up top and taking that step. And then, you keep taking steps and you win, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're a team that consistently gets into the district championship game with a chance to get to the regional.
Yeah, now the programs that we're talking about that are like, league championship, we got bigger fish to fry.
But
those are the programs.
Right. But
those are the established teams.
You look at their history and they went through it too. It's just they took the steps. Poland, for their girls' teams, 10 wins a year, 11 wins a year. Nick Blanche, he's had his tough seasons at Poland. So he just took the steps. They won a couple games. They had Bella Gaitis come in, raise the standard. They got to district championships. They couldn't win a district championship. And then all of a sudden, 2 seasons ago with Sarah Burry as a senior, they win a district championship. They go to regional finals. And then all of a sudden next year, it's sustained. They go to a district championship. They lose by 1 to West Branch. This year, 19-1. They're building something and taking the proper steps as a program.
There you go.
So
yeah. For the teams that are, for the teams that struggle, winning your league championship is important, and it's part of the step. But again, if you don't win a league championship, but you have a crazy good tournament run, that's kind of a nice consolation prize in all of it. But you have to build your steps to build your basketball program.
There are no elevators to the top, my friend.
No.
You have to take the stairs.
You got to take the stairs
Even
when it comes to...
I have to take the stairs. And they're my worst enemy. I took the stairs. I'll tell you that.
Well, you had one of those chairs that
No.
No?
I walked the stairs in middle school and high school.
Really?
Yeah, because South Rain, The old South.
Well, the
Range.
old South Range. Now the new one has.
I spent 3 years at that old South Range building, and here's a lesson to you guys. Their elevators don't go to every floor. They go to some floors. So I did have to do steps to get to the math floor and the gym floor because there were renovations to that building, and the elevator doesn't go to every floor. So I did take the steps.
We didn't even have an elevator in the old high school.
Go.
Yeah, we used to give
back in my day,
a key to a fictitious room that we gave to the freshmen, and said, "Here, we go. You got to unlock the elevator," and they would be late in class, and it was like, "Well, why are you late in class, Mr. Potesta?" Well, they told me I had to take an elevator. Yeah, they're like, "Yeah, elevator? Yeah, you're in detention."
That was before the ADA existed.
Yeah,
and you didn't have to have buildings up the code.
Of course, this is the same school that you had a subtropical weather in one room and North Pole weather in the other room. Yeah, it was kind of fun. 3rd floor at Leetonia, at the old Leetonia High School, coal driven heat, where the janitor would actually stoke fire with coal. 3rd floor. Subtropical type of weather.
Oh,
First floor, you had to put mittens on, literally, to get warm.
DJ corrected me. That South Range tournament run was the year before the NE8 started in baseball, so they didn't have a league championship to win.
Well, didn't they have an ITC?
Remember South Range was like independent for 2 years.
That's right, they were.
Because there was kind of in limbo setting up the NE8. So,
okay.
I think they played all those NE8 teams to prepare for that schedule, so that's why in my mind.
Yeah.
Because I remember broadcasting games where they were playing Poland, they were playing Hubbard.
Yeah.
But the league didn't exist yet, so they were technically independent.
Yeah, and they were a sub 500 team, but you get hot.
Point is point.
Yeah,
I think the point's
you get hot, and there you go. It's anything can happen. Anything can happen in a tournament. That's why I love me some tournaments.
One shining moment, man.
Absolutely, love
March
me some
Madness
tournaments.
Is coming up too.
Well,
can't wait for that.
I'm
excited this year because it's not going to be the same old. Oh, Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina.
I know, but I'm
Four.
kind of sour on it because you're not gonna have people first of all, which sucks. And then you're not going to be in
Are they
places.
saying like no fans at all? Or are they doing like limited fans?
They're doing limited fans.
Okay, so you'll have people.
Yeah.
You can get energy up in that. I mean, like, look at what Lambeau Field did. I mean, they lost that game, but you could hear that stands, and they were having like.
Oh, they were having a grand old time.
They were having
that.
7,000. It sounded like rain when they were banging the metal, the signs on the metal bench. It sounded like it was like pouring down rain.
Yeah. Oh, it was raining all right. It was raining TB12 passes. Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think I'm excited for tournament. Tournament time is always fun because this is like the best moment in sports for me as a fan because you got basketball, high school tournaments starting, softball starting their season, and then you get March Madness. It's like, yes.
And then, oh, by the way, YSU football starts next
still
Sunday.
My beating heart.
Yeah.
I'll bring back some Shakespeare for all you uncultured heathens.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
Uncultured heathens.
See,
hate mail to Anthony Hardwig at ysnlive.com.
My vocab words are just popping up, you know. But,
were you one of the, what was it, freshman year? Did you guys have to do Romeo and Juliet freshman year in
we
in
read
English?
it. We didn't have to act it out.
See, we had to act it out because we had a drama teacher, so we had to act it out. I was like, what the hell is this? What are you serious with this?
We did do the thing where like we were sitting in our desks and we had to read the lines, but our teacher wanted him to like try to act the lines out. So we weren't like dressing up and doing the play.
Oh no, that's exactly what we had to do.
We were still sitting on our desks like trying to read that as you know what I mean? So it was kind of awkward when you're not even looking at the person that's playing Juliet and you're like what light through yonder window breaks?
Yeah, I'm just like looking at this going, you really want me to say what?
You didn't think you were getting Shakespeare today.
Yeah, it's just, and my drama, English teacher, Miss Danino. She was a drama person. I don't want to say drama queen. That's kind of a bad thing to say. But she was a person that was very theatrical.
Right. So I bet she ran the theater club or whatever.
Well, what little theater club we had in Leetonia we
plays and whatnot.
We never had any plays when I was in school. The last time we had a play, I think it was in 8th grade. We didn't have plays. which would have been cool if we had them because, I did a couple of things at the Salem Community Theater. In my 20s, I was Oscar Madison, The Odd Couple. Oh, I had a blast doing that. Oh, I had a blast doing Oscar Madison. You want to talk about art imitating life? I had a blast doing Oscar Madison. Fat slob, overweight, had a back in the day. I'm a little neater now.
You said
it. But back in the day, not exactly the neatest person in the world.
You said it.
No, I was serious. I had a blast doing that. But when I was a freshman at Leetonia, we had a very theatrical English teacher. So freshman year, everyone had to do Romeo and Juliet. So reading the parts.
Where did we get off on this, dude?
I don't know. We're reading the parts, and I'm like, what the hell is this thee and thou and thus and thine crap? Well, this is how they talked back in the day. I was like, can we do a 20th century Romeo and Juliet?
Can we do Leonardo DiCaprio and do a 20? Well, actually, they used actual lines. They just said it in a modern.
Yeah, just doing it in a modern type of a thing.
Right.
Who the hell says Romeo, Romeo? Wherefore art thou Romeo? It's like, where the hell are you, son?
Can we do the Urban Dictionary version of this?
Bitch, please. 330-886-0813. Had to throw that in. We'll take a time out. Be back with more.
Cut.
It's a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is a place to go.
It's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoop News all season long on 21 Sports.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point. Yes, we're still on the air, which is an amazing of itself since we butchered. I butchered Shakespeare. You didn't butcher
we went
it.
down some path. I didn't know where we went, and I didn't know how we got there.
I think you were talking about high school, and then we went into.
I just wanted to point out that like my South Range High School wasn't exactly quote unquote handicap accessible.
And then I went into how some of my classes were subtropical weather in the third floor and freezing in the first floor,
right.
and then we went into whatever.
You said off air, you excited me. You said you had a burning question that you wanted to ask.
I've always wondered. When we're talking about a sports fan, and not just one particular sport, we're fans of all different kinds of sports, which is the best kind of sports fan, is, in my humble opinion. So I've often wondered with all of the sports fans, and I've asked this question once or twice when I was doing terrestrial radio, what is your favorite time of year as a sports fan? Because one can argue, if you think about this, one can argue in the month of March, you have the tournaments, March Madness, you have spring training for baseball, you're getting into the really meat and potatoes of high school tournaments, basketball tournaments with the districts and then the regionals and the state tournament. So the month of March is one thing. You can also go in and say September because, that's the start of college and pro football season. Baseball is starting to get into its really important part of the campaign. You can say October because you got playoff baseball, you got the NBA and the NHL just ready to start. And, by the way, football is starting to get into high gear. But you can also say December in that, college football is now starting to get into high gear with the playoffs. You're looking at the NFL and their playoff push. And, by the way, the NBA and the NHL are 2 months, 3 months into their season. So, Anthony Hardwig, let me ask you, your favorite time of year as a sports fan would be?
I think I answered this early in the show, and I didn't even know I was answering it, but it's now because we're gearing up for high school basketball tournaments, which is really fun because you get to see it's just a different atmosphere, and you get to go and you get to see it personally.
Yes.
Then you're getting into...
Under normal circumstances, this year you may not be able to see it.
We will, but you won't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we will. You won't. Anthony didn't want to say that, but I'm going to say that.
You can see it. You can see it. You know why? Because we're going to be broadcasting it to you, so you can see it.
Good save. Very good save, Anthony Hardwig. Because at first you were kind of like, we're going to see it. You're not going to see it. Sucks to be you. Continue, sir.
But, you got that, and then you got March Madness, which is like end of February, start of March, which I just love. I love doing the brackets. I love the feeling of trying to see if, your bracket stacks up with my bracket. But then, I love softball, and softball starts this weekend. It starts today, actually. So there are teams playing right now. I think number 7 Texas versus number 7 Alabama tonight, in Austin. That'll be... So, it hits the ground rolling. ESPN is showing over 100 softball games over the weekend on their...
On the mothership or the family?
On their streaming services.
Okay, all right.
So, like SEC Network, SEC Plus, ACC Network, all that. Over 100 softball games in opening weekend. So, this is fun because ESPN pours a lot of effort into college softball because they know that in the spring, that's their ratings go. It kicks college baseball out of the water in ratings. So I love it because it's the time when I like women's sports. I'm going to say it's the time when women's sports gets the recognition that I wanted to get during softball season. So it's fun. And then, of course, I think a close second would be December because I love bowl season. I love the doing the pick'em.
Yeah.
For bowl season, that's when you really get interested as a college football fan because you're watching these games, rooting for someone because you got, well, for my family, you got money on the line for the bowl pick'em, and you're putting confidence points on this team, and
wow,
you need this team to win because you got 35 points on the line.
The Hardwig family is illegally betting. I think we have broken a news story here.
You know,
I mean, we are in a state that's illegal betting, so.
Well, okay. You know. Friendly wagers are not. Friendly family wagers are not the
Wheel
same.
them away, officer. Wheel them away.
That's it. I should not have said that.
No, you probably shouldn't have. That's all right. Trust me, there's a lot of things that I've said on this program that I probably shouldn't have said. So we'll let that one go.
I feel like Hagrid and Harry Potter. Should not have said that. No more questions. No, but yeah, I think right now and then December are 1 and 2, and then if I had to pick a third, it's got to be the start of the football season because right now that's what Kansas City fans are most excited about because the Royals are in the toilet. So you started Chiefs season, and that's really exciting. And then Georgia Tech will start their football season.
All right.
But right now, absolutely, especially because we got like 10 softball games last year before it would shut down.
Yeah.
I haven't seen college softball in over a year, almost a year. I want it back. Let's go.
Well, it starts tonight. So are you doing any games tonight on the network?
I am. So I'm going to come home. No, I don't have Longhorn Network, so I can't watch tonight's game. But tomorrow, Georgia Tech plays at 1 o'clock. I'll be locked in, so let's go.
There you go. All right. And the DVR will be working overtime.
Oh, yeah. Tennessee plays at 3. LSU plays later, so it's just going to be fun. I got all the teams that I support with friends on the team or coaching. I got scheduled, so I'll be watching a lot of softball this week.
So the Southeastern Conference Network and the ACC Network.
It's a lot of Southeastern. I do have friends in Houston, so I'll be watching the Cougars a little bit. My friend coaches at Western Illinois, so I'll be keeping an eye on them. Keeping an eye on our YSN college people, down in Ohio State.
Sure.
All around. I think we have a lot of softball in Youngstown State. They're going to start.
We have a lot of kids that are from YSN schools that are going to be playing at Youngstown State.
Keep an eye on St. Bonaventure because Brooke Bobby went there from Poland. So we got a lot of teams I'll be keeping an eye on, and I'm very excited to get back to, hopefully getting my Hot Corner blog that I did in the summer back up for softball season as well pretty soon.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time of the year. I'm going to go the month of October. Being that for me, even though I'm not excited as a baseball fan right now, and I'll get over it. I'll get excited when we're ready to go. It's just 7-inning doubleheaders, putting this bull crap runner at second base to begin extra innings. It's just you're killing the game, Mr. Manfred. With all due respect, you're killing the game. And you're an idiot, but, we'll get over it because I'm a baseball fan. But the month of October for me, because you're in the thick of baseball playoffs, you're knee-deep in the baseball playoffs, and you also have in stride college football and the NFL are pretty much starting to get on a roll. The NBA and the NHL, they're on the horizon. So it's a nice time of the year. Number 2, this time of year, from now to the end of March, this is one of my favorite times of the year for the exact same reasons that you just mentioned. High school basketball, you're starting to get into tournament mode. College baseball and college softball, you're now starting your season. March Madness in basketball, you're gonna start your. It's a really cool time of year.
And I'll tell you that there's something different about high school basketball tournament time. It's like you'll love softball tournaments, you love baseball tournaments, you'll love the football playoffs. But there's something a little bit to me, there's something a little bit unique about the feeling of going into basketball tournaments for whatever reason. The excitement level is a little bit better for the basketball tournaments, and I don't know. I've always felt more adrenaline during a basketball tournament game than the other high school sports.
I don't know if it's going to be the same this year, based on the whole COVID season. But if they decide to keep this format, like I said, on paper, I love this format. I don't know if it's going to go and do exactly what it's supposed to do, but on paper, I love this format.
I really like the super districts. I'm a stickler. I want to go back to you host sectionals, but districts go to one spot.
Yeah, I want
that,
my cake and eat it too.
I want that atmosphere. I want
Yeah.
to go to the Struthers Fieldhouse and see 2 district semifinals at least. Get to see 2 games in one day since we can't do the whole tournament in one place anymore. And there are some venues in the area that just deserve to be a championship venue, like Struthers and like Warren Harding and
Boardman, Salem. Yeah.
You know, they just you feel like you're in a tournament game when you walk into those places.
That's the one thing that I think that the super districts are going to take away from, and that might be the thing that you take away from it, where now you're feeling, this really doesn't feel like a tournament. You're just going to another person's home court because they had a better regular season than we did. This isn't a tournament feel. This is more like a regular season feel, and that's my biggest fear on the new way of doing tournaments now. I might be wrong on that. You might still have that tournament feel, even though you're not going to be in the field house if you're Division IV boys in Columbiana and Mahoning County, or Grand Valley if you're a Trumbull County school, or Harding if you're a D3 team in Trumbull County, or Salem if you're in Mahoning and Columbiana counties. I don't know if that's gonna take away any part of the tournament experience.
Speaking of the feel of tournament games, we were talking to Coach Fischel and Coach Blanche this week after the big matchup last week between those two. They are excited about this South Range game because it's varsity only. It starts at 6. And they said, and I didn't even think about it, they said it's so important to get your kids used to showing up, warming up, and playing before tournament games and not having to sit through a JV game, because you're not going to sit through a JV game come tournament time. You're going to show up, you're going to do your warm-ups, and you're to go. And that's kind of, but that's a routine that you have to get into.
Yeah,
where
that's a big
show up, warm up, and go.
That's a big thing. That's a very big thing, where you're not going to have that JV game to sit through and relax and do whatever.
Usually in the district semifinals, at least, you have another game to sit through.
Yeah.
If you're the second team.
Sure.
So
you're not going to have that this year.
You're not going to have that.
Yeah.
No one's going to have that.
And in previous years, you did have, even when you were playing sectional games, unless you were the first game, you did have a game that you would sit through and then go into the locker room fourth quarter, prior to the fourth quarter or during the fourth quarter, and do whatever is needed to be done, have your last-minute powwow, and then go out on the floor.
And I will say, we do have a couple of teams that have a legitimate shot at getting regionals, and that's when it'll really feel like a tournament game, because you're going to get still 2 games in one spot.
Yeah.
And you're going to get the big gym. You won't have the crowd, but you'll have I feel like that'll when you really feel like that tournament atmosphere, like, because there's no other reason to go to Cuyahoga Falls or go to Barberton. So you're really feeling like you're going to a tournament.
Yeah. By the way, if you go to Barberton, you got to try their chicken.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. God, I can't remember the name of the chicken restaurant there, but oh my God, it's
and I get excited because that's really close to a Sonic, which we don't have here.
Sonic, we don't have Sonics here. I don't understand that.
Like God's gift to Earth, and we don't get it in Youngstown.
Yeah.
So God shunned us for some reason and didn't want us to have a Sonic.
He shunned us because we don't have a Sonic. Okay.
It's a little shun, but it's still a shun.
It's a little bit of a shun.
We did something wrong in our history where.
Well, we don't have a 7-Eleven either.
Maybe it was the mob. Maybe it was the mob history in Youngstown.
Wow.
Because
you want to go there with my people. Good
maybe it
Lord.
Was. Maybe God went meh.
Yeah.
Because of that, we're not going to get a Sonic.
you had those people over there. We're not giving you a Sonic. And I kind of don't catch the correlation between the two.
Sonic. No, they don't even do any. I can't. No, there's no mafia food inside. So
Okay.
I gotta blame somebody. And
You're gonna blame. Okay, you're gonna blame the mob. All right. Well, we don't have a Sonic because of the mob. Okay. All right. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business with you till 3 o'clock. Coming up at the top of the hour, Dre Smith will be talking YSU women's hoops. We have Cardinal Mooney, their head girls basketball coach, will be coming up at 2:30. And we'll talk some Cardinal Mooney Cardinals basketball.
And they got a game against East tonight, so we'll have some basketball to talk about.
Well, you get the schedule on the network tonight.
Tonight, I am going to Waterloo to see them play Western Reserve for the second day in a row. So they lost to Waterloo last night. They'll try to rebound at home and beat them. Lost to Western Reserve, sorry. Waterloo lost to Western Reserve last night. They'll try to beat them at home tonight in Waterloo.
They're playing each other 2 times in 2 days.
Yeah. That's how the schedule worked out because
that's interesting.
Their game at Western Reserve got canceled last week for weather, not COVID, for weather. So they had to move it, and the only day that was really available was that Wednesday. So
yeah, Kennedy Miller had 23 last night for Western Reserve, and Danny Voletich had 21.
When you have Miller and Voletich both go for plus 20, you're in trouble. You
Yeah.
have to slow one of them down. So, Waterloo's going to have to do a little bit. I think, it's hard to slow Voletich down, but if you don't close out on shooters and you let Kennedy Miller shoot free range from the three-point line, that's something that Waterloo will have to do better. They're going to have to close out on three-pointers better. And they're going to have to be a little bit more physical. They're not a deep team, so they have to make sure that they're not letting people get screened and not letting people get caught up in screens and stuff like that. So can't give up wide open shots against Western Reserve because they have a lot of shooters on the floor that will knock them down if you let them get open.
You have to communicate on the floor. That's a huge part of basketball. You got to communicate on the floor because it's if you're not saying pick, screen, switch.
I loved having an early game because I got to peek in on a lot of these late games. What Waterloo did particularly well, especially in the first quarter, they made Danny Voletich come and defend in the perimeter, and that opens things up down low. When you do that, it does a really good kind of switcheroo thing. I think for the first 3 minutes, the score was 1-0 because Waterloo, who plays a lot of zone, they put almost no man-to-man defense on film, came out in man. And Western Reserve didn't know what to do against their man defense. So for the first 3 or 4 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, it was 1-0. And they need to build on that. And, you look at Waterloo's schedule, they do well this year when they're playing a team that they just played very, very recently. They've had a couple of back-to-back, not back-to-back days, but back-to-back opponents. They played really good in the second time around. So hopefully they'll put on a good show tonight, and we'll have a good game there in Western Reserve.
We got some basketball on the network. We also have swimming on the network.
Yes, and it's swimming with some weight on it because it's I thought it was sectionals. Maybe sectionals.
Are all of these swim tournaments at YSU? Because I mean, does Boardman even have a swimming pool in their high school? I mean, they got everything.
I'm sure they do. I don't.
All the years that I've been to Boardman, I've never gone. I mean, I've gone into their gym, but I've really never toured the rest of their high school. I mean, obviously, I've gone into their gymnasium, but I don't even know if they have a swimming pool at Boardman.
12 basketball games on the network tonight, plus swimming at Boardman.
And there's a lot of boys basketball games.
Yeah, there's
games. Actually, not a lot. There's three boys games on the network tonight.
But Fitch and Boardman will be very fun. Liberty Champion will be very fun, and Cheney East should be exciting because East got a big win over Ursuline earlier, not too long ago. So
and Cheney got that overtime win over Boardman on Tuesday night.
I think it's going to be 3 fun boys games on the network, and then to go off of what we got on the network, we'll run it down. Girard is hosting Lakeview. Pavlansky will have that one. East is traveling to Mooney. We'll talk to Coach Baker about that one, and Dom will be broadcasting that. JFK goes to Cheney. Billy Mack and Betos go into there, and they're going to do that.
That's a 5 o'clock game because that's going to be prior to the Cheney
only.
East boys game.
And senior night as well. So senior night, and it's going to be a doubleheader with the boys, varsity only, of course. Lisbon is hosting Wellsville. Rick Daly will have the call there. McDonald is hosting Lowville. That's going to be a game that the school will take care of, and our school announcers do a wonderful job at McDonald. They'll have that game. Another game where the school is taking care of us. They do a wonderful job. Newton Falls hosting LeBray. That's an interesting game in the MVAC. It might have tournament, aspirations there because Newton Falls is the 3 seed. LeBray is the 8 seed, but they got the bye, and they're going to be waiting maybe Crestview for an MVAC rematch.
Oh, by the way, Crestview and LeBray playing Saturday afternoon, varsity only, starting at 12 noon on Saturday at Crestview. Larry and I will be doing that game.
Springfield is hosting Mineral Ridge, and Paul Munson, our boy that schedules everything, will have that game. United, of course, we've talked about this game up the wazoo. United hosting East Palestine. United can win the EOAC overall championship with a win there. And then, of course, Waterloo hosting Western Reserve. 2 quarters of JV, so that game will start around 6:15. Boys games, Fitch and Boardman. Liberty hosting Champion, and Cheney versus East. And then Boardman swimming. So that runs down what we have on the network tonight. And it's going to be a great night of basketball. You got all these games, you got the boys' games on Thursdays because people are trying to squeeze games in. And no day belongs to one side of the basketball court, which is something that's very unusual, but we like it because we get more games.
Yeah, and look, I mean, the girls' season ends. If you're D2, D3, or D4, your season ends on Saturday. If you're D1, your season ends tonight or tomorrow night.
Your season starts on Saturday.
Yeah, your season's going to be starting on Saturday, Boardman, Fitch, and Canfield.
We have all 3 of those tournament games covered. We're going to have people there. And like we said before, $9.99 gets you access to all 3 games. And for the rest of the playoffs, tournaments. It's weird that we say playoffs for football and we say tournaments for basketball.
And the reason why. Playoffs, you have a select few people.
Right.
Tournaments,
except for this year,
you're invited everyone. See, this year in the high school state playoffs, it should have been the high school tournament because you invited everybody.
Wait a minute. March Madness isn't inviting everybody, but it's still a tournament.
It's an NCAA tournament.
But not everyone's invited.
Well, that's true. There went that theory out the window. Yeah.
God.
It's like COVID. Hold on a second. And it went out the window. Okay, I thought I had something there. Apparently not. Thanks for bursting my bubble. Why don't you just tell me that Santa Claus isn't real while you're at... Well, never mind.
Well, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus, by the way.
Yeah. Why don't you tell me professional wrestling isn't real?
It's choreographed up the wazoo.
I know it is.
It's real per se that it's actually happening. If you think it's real as the front, they're actually hitting each other with chairs.
Well, they are hitting each other with chairs.
But it's not chairs. It's
They are hitting each other with chairs.
Breakaway chairs.
But
breakaway tables.
Yeah.
The shot.
Well, explain the Bills Mafia doing what they do with a table.
They're just drunk and crazy.
Well, this is true. This is very true. I particularly cared for the one idiot.
I love the guy that misses the tables and goes right.
Then they go head first into the ground. Yeah, the one idiot that decided to try to break a chair that was doused with gasoline and then lit on fire. Now you can only imagine how this one turns out.
This is why warning labels are on everything, because
there
are stupid people in the area that cannot function without the warning labels.
I just don't understand why anyone would do something like that.
You look at a hairdryer and it says, don't use in the shower. Well, what idiot said, honey, I'm done shampooing my hair.
Yeah,
toss me that blow dryer.
Toss me that blow dryer. I want to get a jump start on my day. Yeah, you're still in the shower.
You know how shampoo bottles say rinse, lather, repeat, rinse, lather, repeat?
Yeah.
There's some idiot still in the shower because it doesn't say dry your hair, try again tomorrow, man. It says rinse, repeat. And he's sitting there like doing exactly what you say.
Yeah.
And then my hair's not getting any cleaner.
Yeah. Your hair's going to be nice and shiny. The bottle's gone after one day, but the hair's nice and shiny.
If you want a fun time, if you're bored because this is what quarantine did to me, find some of the warning labels on some of this stuff in your house and just laugh at what must have happened for those warning labels to have to be put on that.
Yeah.
Because it's really fun.
Yeah. The old one, the 9-volt alkaline batteries where idiots would put their tongue on where you would plug your.
Right.
Who does that? Why would you do something that stupid? What did you get dropped on your head as a kid?
You know what? On a stick of deodorant, it says avoid applying to your eyes.
Yeah.
Well, you just want to avoid the stinky eye in your first date. So.
Oh, nice. Well played, sir. Well played.
So, I mean, there's this. It's crazy. Some of the.
Yeah. Well played.
There's some other ones.
I remember when I was 13 or 14. This was in the CB craze. Everyone had CB radios.
Oh yeah.
In their
trucker 1
Yeah. In their cars. Well, you would also have a CB that you can have in the house, but the problem is you would have to have the antenna. You have the antenna in your house, or you put the antenna and attach it to.
You had to have a license
to the
to use those, right?
Way back in the day, you had to have a license because you couldn't say, much like in terrestrial radio back in the day, you couldn't say any of those naughty words. Now, of course, all bets are off. But I remember we had a CB that was in the house, and the antenna was up on the roof. Mm-hmm. So you would have the coax cable come down and through through one of the windows. Well, it was pouring down rain one night, and it was a lightning storm, and I wanted to use the CB radio when it was unplugged. Well, you try to put this thing in, and then you're like, okay. First time is like, yeah, that's enough for me. We're just gonna hold off on this for a little bit, and we'll try to do this at another time.
Well, you were somewhat smart. Some idiot went there like, it won't happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
Okay, it won't happen a third time.
Yeah. Felt like a Buffalo Bills fan. Wait a minute. It's not going to happen a fourth straight time. No way will that happen. 330-886-0813.
Once again, you shovel the dirt on yourself, and I don't have to do it.
I can laugh about it now. I can laugh about it now because it's the expiration of pain is gone.
On the show, but when he gets home, he goes into the corner and just gets in the fetal position for about 10 minutes.
Nah, that was
just for that joke.
That was back a few years earlier. Norwood.
He's sitting there like this. Yeah. Norwood.
Norwood. White right. Harry Connick Band. Damn you!
He's like Seinfeld. Norwood. Norwood. Oh man!
It'll all be washed away when my Bills win a world championship.
I won't be here tomorrow, but we have some Friday games that we can preview too when we get done with Dre.
Oh gosh, yeah.
There's some good Friday games we can preview before I get out of here.
Yeah, we're gonna have some great basketball. We do. Well, I'm going to be at YSU, but Larry has a really good basketball.
A good one. Your buddy Larry has.
Yeah, he's going to have a really good basketball game on Friday night. I'll be curious to see what happens. I mean, look, like we said, the girls' season. If you're Division I, tonight's it. Right. Unless you're already finished. I think Boardman's already finished. They played their last regular season game against Canfield. Game we had earlier in the week, and they'll start their tournament against Louisville, a YSN school. So it'll be a YSN family affair from Louisville High School on Saturday.
Actually, you look at we have none of our Division I teams are playing tonight, so I think all of them are done.
Yeah, so they're done. And come Saturday, unless you had a bye, you'll start your tournament season.
And our three teams did not have a bye, so all three of our teams will be playing on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. The other D1 team in the Mahoning Valley, Harding, did have a bye. They'll play in the second round. But if you're boys, you still have another week of basketball. Mm-hmm. You have until next Saturday to play as many games to your 22-game season as humanly possible. Now, I'm a little surprised by something, and I'm going to ask you. About a month ago, the OHSAA came out with the statement that if a team wanted to play 2 games in the span of 24 hours,
and we don't see in the tournament,
you would be allowed to. And we all took this as, oh my God, are these guys actually going to play 2 tournament games in the span of 1 day?
If weather hits and they have to they might do that. They might be like, well, you know what, we're going to move that to Saturday.
And maybe that's where, if we have a weather situation where you sit back and go, okay, we're canceling these games, but everyone's going to be playing lined up together on this particular day. And then, oh, by the way, if you have to play another day the next day, less than 24 hours later, you're going to have to do it.
Now, we had a YSN family take advantage of that rule because last Saturday, Waterloo became, well, according to their athletics feed, they became the first basketball program to win two games on a calendar day during the regular season. They beat Firestone at noon last Saturday, and then they beat Sebring at 6 o'clock, the Waterloo girls. So
there you go.
They took advantage of, they needed to get the league game in, and they didn't want to lose Firestone as a non-conference opponent, so they just went, we'll play Firestone at noon, we'll play Sebring at 6, and they won 2 games on a calendar day.
Are you surprised that more teams haven't tried that?
Yes, because we were trying to get league games in.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like there's an opportunity to play a league game at noon and then a non-conference game at 6.
Or you can knock down 2 league games in one day if you wanted to. I mean, I'm surprised that there are leagues that have not taken advantage of that and said, oh, especially on a Saturday. Now, obviously, you can't do this now because you're running out of time in girls basketball. But I'm surprised that there was not an edit saying or an edict saying, hey, you guys are going to be playing 2 games in this particular day. Sorry, but fairness went out the window with COVID, but you're going to be playing 2 games because we're going to get this league finished.
That's what you tell the teams that are mad about the way the EOAC came out and said, well, hey, if you want, you can play 2 games on Saturday. We'll just decide it that way.
There you go.
And then if they poo-poo that, then you say, well, then you deal with our way of crowning a champion.
Yeah.
Give them the option.
I'm going to be real curious. And let me ask you, and then we'll take a break and go to Dre because we're gonna get some YSU women's basketball talk in here in a little bit. There are some teams, whether it be Cheney, whether it be East, whether it be some COVID-driven schools that have had to sit out for a couple of weeks in Mahoning, Trumbull, Columbiana counties. There's Trumbull County schools that are not going to be anywhere near 22 games. You have until next Saturday to get all of your games in. If you're a coach and your team has played, let's say, 12, 13, 14 games, do you substitute practice at this point and play 5 or 6 games between now and the end of the regular season?
That's so tough because you don't want to gas yourself before the tournament starts.
Yeah.
I wouldn't this late in the season.
Well, let me ask. Let me put a caveat in there. Let's say that you drew a bye, and instead of playing on Wednesday, you're playing on a Friday.
I could play that one. I could play maybe one extra game to supplement what I would have if I didn't have a bye, but I still wouldn't push it past one extra game.
Yeah. So you would be playing 4 games between now and Saturday.
What's 16? What's an extra 4 games if you gas yourselves and you lose your first tournament game? I mean, to me, I wouldn't do it. We can talk to Coach Baker about it and see what he thinks.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting question to ask.
Because they're a perfect example. Now, unfortunately for them, they don't have any time because their season comes to an end officially on Saturday. So if you're only going to be playing 1 or 2 more games, then so be it. But for a boys coach, I would be curious. How do you go about this? Do you play tonight or not tonight? Do you play Friday night, schedule a game on Saturday, play Tuesday, Friday, and then go into the tournament? Do you just go Friday, Tuesday, Friday, and go into the tournament? Do you go Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and go into the tournament? I don't know. I mean, I'm curious. And how many coaches are going to legitimately take advantage of the other rule that the OHSAA said, which is if you get beat and you want to play your 22-game complete season, you have the opportunity to, up until the time basketball season officially ends, whether it be the state championship girls game or state championship boys game.
Or you get 22 games.
Or you get 22 games. But you can't play more than 22 games and your tournament games.
Right.
So if you won and done in the tournaments, then you can't play more than 23 games in your season.
Like I said, I don't think we'll see nearly as many teams do that as we did in football, but I think there will be maybe a handful that at least want to reach out to teams to try to get them, especially teams, only playing like 10 games in the regular season. That would feel like you're shorting your team because that's less than half of your season.
What about teams that they're young? They have a bunch of sophomores and freshmen and a smattering of juniors, not a whole lot of seniors. Would you want to have those kids get to the 22 games so you get some momentum going into the off season and get them ready for what is supposed to be a much better year for them record-wise in 21-22 season?
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, and that's what we talked about when the girls' basketball tournament came out. There are some teams that are young that would just benefit from a couple tournament wins to get under their belt. Everyone wants to win a district championship, but there are some teams where the goal, they didn't take a bye because their goal as a young team was to just get a couple of tournament wins under your belt and get that youth some tournament experience to go forward because they feel like they can be special in the years to come. United is one of the golden opportunities for that. United can win a couple of tournament games and get to a district championship and then feel good about themselves because they got their young roster some tournament experience and got them some wins under their belt.
Are we talking United girls?
Yeah.
There's a golden opportunity for them to do just that.
Right. And that's I think that's one of the reasons why Coach Sigler picked South Range's bracket because he had a better opportunity there to get a couple of tournament wins under his belt.
Could be.
It would have been a lot tougher to get wins down in the bracket where everyone avoided South Range and kind of it's more clustered and there's tougher teams down there. So up in the South Range bracket, it's going to be a really hard thing to do to win the tournament, win the district, but you can still get a couple of district wins and get that young roster some tournament experience.
Yeah, if you're able to win 3 games, win your 2 games to win a sectional championship, win the district semifinal, and then go into the district championship game against South Range, you got to believe that that's a great way to end the season, which is another reason why I think coaches are looking at the expanded 2 districts combined into 1. And from that perspective, it can make a lot more sense to do the tournament this way.
You're right, and that's why I really love the super district format because it just gives you more opportunities as a team.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I want to see how this plays out before I really make a determination one way or the other. Because I got to be honest. I mean, part of me is, and I'm more of a traditionalist. Part of me is going to really not like the fact that you're not playing your district semifinals in one place. I think it's going to be a different.
That might go back to normal, but the super district format might be here to stay, where we have 24 teams in a district and they split into 2 brackets.
Yeah,
I like that.
I kind of like that. Now, if you can have if I can have my cake and eat it too, where you have a district tournament for everyone to be in one place, but if you're doing 2 districts, you can't really do that geographically. It doesn't make sense to do it. So
you want all the teams in one giant district to play in the one.
Yeah, come district time, absolutely I do.
You want a 24-team district?
I want a 24-team, 2 districts. Come district time, we're going to play one in one area, one in the other area.
Oh, well,
and go from there.
Just go back to what it was last year before. Okay. I think that's what you'll see next year. You'll see the super districts, but then there will still be a district destination where they'll play in Struthers, they'll play in Salem, they'll play in.
I don't know.
I think we'll see that because I think the only reason they're not doing that is because of COVID.
And maybe.
I think the super districts will stay, but I think the district venues
and
will go back.
If you're right, then I'll be a happy camper with that.
But what if? Okay, so let's say you get seeded 1 through 24. You still have 2 brackets, but both district championships are played in the same spot, like somewhere in the middle. So each like you'll have 2 district championships in one place, and you can kind of see each other.
So the district semifinals are at the home of the higher seed, but the district championship games are going to be played in one location.
What if all 4 semifinals and both the district championships were played in one spot?
That would be awesome.
The super district.
That would be phenomenal if you did that.
Because then it gives you a little bit more of that old school feel where people can go to a place and see 4 tournament games.
Yeah, I mean, you need 2 for the price of one night, 2 for the price of one the next night. Then you have your district championship given one day, district championship another day, and you get 4 days on the calendar. I'd be happy. I'd be thrilled. The OHSAA would never go for that.
Get your popcorn ready for that one.
I would be thrilled if that were the case. Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I just don't think the OHSAA would do that.
No, because
money is the object of all of this. It's become a business.
Get that green.
Yeah, we're talking Benjamins here. All right, we're going to be talking Dre here. Dre Smith coming in to talk YSU women's basketball.
I wonder how much money Dre would pay to put you in a dunk tank.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna continue that conversation. He's one of those people that would do the same thing, like Schmidt. He'd look at the thing and go, "Oh, boop." yeah. Why are these gators in this?
No reason. They're just for show.
Yeah.
They're not even alive, Ron.
No, they're not alive.
They're
no.
moving.
Yeah,
it's an optical illusion.
Yeah, it's an optical illusion. Or you're safe. You trust us. You're safe. Yeah,
you got an alligator bite suit on. You'll be fine.
Oh,
we've never tested it before, but we're told that they won't bite her when it bites.
Dre Smith, a man who wants to put me in a dunk tank. Coming up next. Stick around. More to come.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. And joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, we bring in the voice of YSU women's basketball, Dre Smith. Dre, how are you today, sir?
I'm phenomenal, guys. It's a sunny day here in the Mahoning Valley, so just trying to take advantage of it. But got a big weekend series against IUPUI coming up, so everybody's excited and ready to go.
Okay, now Anthony wanted to ask you a question pertaining to.
Well, we had this discussion with Rob Schmidt yesterday because so we asked him. We're going to ask you the same thing. How much money would you pay to put Ron Potesta in a dunk tank, or have the opportunity to put Ron Potesta in a dunk tank?
Oh, I don't know about. You're putting me on the spot
there. Yeah, I've always liked Dre.
He's a little kinder than Rob.
He's kinder. Rob Schmidt's like, oh yeah, put his ass in the dunk tank. Yeah, we're even gonna throw some sharks in the thing as well. Okay, appreciate the love.
See, if that happens, then at some point I'm going to end up in the dunk tank too. So I'm not wishing that upon Ron. we'll put some good karma out there.
Look, if we put Giuliano in the dunk tank, I think that would be kind of fun. But that neither
now
here
we're,
nor there.
now we're talking.
Yeah, now we're talking. Yeah, exactly. Hey, let's talk a little bit about this basketball team. And Dre, you and I had this conversation after Wright State came in. The first couple of games, Youngstown State had to deal with COVID not once but twice. All of the non-conference games were taken away from them because of COVID. This was a team that you were only going to be playing a set amount of games. They had already lost their first 2 rounds of games in the league, so you're looking at a 16-game season now instead of a 25 or 30 game season. Wright State came into Youngstown, knocked off YSU both games. And you sensed some frustration with Coach Barnes. But then after the first loss to Oakland, this team just started playing some much better basketball. And, man, you look at this team. They have only lost 1 game since starting the season 0-3. That's a testament not only to Coach Barnes, it's a testament to how much talent there really is on this basketball team this year.
Oh, no question. I mean, I don't know if it's getting enough attention around the league, just what they've been able to do since losing those first 3 games. They've done a tremendous job of putting it together, and you're starting to see the team come together. And Coach had said it when the first couple of games happened. He's like, listen, we haven't been practicing. We don't have our game legs under us. This is going to take time, and you've seen that. And I think that they've got better with every game that they've played. The one game at Robert Morris was disappointing, but they came back the next day and found a way to win. And no, I think you're starting to see a team gel, and it takes time. And typically you have the non-conference season to sort of feel things out and get used to your new teammates and figure out rotations and get comfortable before league play starts. And YSU just didn't have that this year. They had to jump right into league play against a Wright State team that is currently the top seed in the league. So that was a tremendous challenge to begin the year when you haven't practiced and haven't played, and you have to jump right in against a team like that. So I would feel a lot better going against Wright State now than we did at the beginning of the year, because I think this team is finally finding some confidence, finding momentum, and they're playing well, and we're going to find out where they really stand this weekend. IUPUI is as good as it gets in the league, defending regular season and tournament champions. They are a huge challenge, to say the least, especially on the road. So we'll figure out where YSU is among the top teams in the league here this weekend, and they have a chance to make a big statement.
When you look at, like you said, the opportunity and the stage that is ahead of them, you've been talking to Coach Barnes this week. What are some things that he wants to see from his team and that he thinks are some keys to coming away with the wins this weekend?
Well, the number one thing is going to be how they handle Macy Williams. She's the 2-time reigning Horizon League Player of the Year, senior forward for IUPUI. She is one of the best players in league history. I mean, when you've won 2 Player of the Year awards, she was the Freshman of the Year her freshman season. She is as good as it gets in our league, and she is as good of a post player as you'll find, at a mid-major level in this country. So she's a lot to deal with down low, and it all starts with her. She averages about 18 points and 9 rebounds a game, and she can really beat you in a lot of different ways. And if you let her get going offensively, that's going to be a long night for you, because they have some great players around her that can also complement her and shoot the 3 and attack the rim and do a lot of different things. So it starts with her. You're going to have to find a way to limit her touches. Coach said they're going to try and, defend her so that they can keep the ball out of her hands as much as possible. And then when she does catch it, you're going to have to be smart and send some help at times to try and help your post players out. So it all starts with Macy Williams. And then they also are a good rebounding team. They're out rebounding teams by an average of about 8 per game. And you can't give them second chance opportunities. Coach said that, they're too good with their offense when they get one chance at the rim, let alone 2-3 offensive rebounds and getting extra possessions. So, really containing Macy Williams is going to be big. Rebounding the basketball is going to be big. And then, of course, just not turning the ball over. The margin for error against IUPUI is really going to be small. They're really well coached. They're really smart. They take care of the basketball. And if you give them extra possessions by turning it over, you're going to be in trouble. So I think those are the big keys in talking to Coach this week, is corralling Macy Williams, rebounding the basketball, not giving them second chances, and then, of course, taking care of the ball.
Dre Smith joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. When we talked with Rob Schmidt, the Horizon League is doing a formula where they're putting a little bit more emphasis on road victories in the course of the season. Now, it's no secret Youngstown State is only going to be playing 16 games in this 2020-2021 conference season. The bad news for Youngstown State, it's not going to be 8 home games and 8 road games. Youngstown State lost 4 road games. And those 4 road games that they lost, they're extremely valuable now that there is a weighted system where wins on the road are more important than wins at home. And that's one of the reasons why Youngstown State's women's team, despite having a very good conference record, Dre, they're only seeded number 7 in the Horizon League. And I look back on the fact that early in the season when we lost the first 4 games of the year, all 4 of those games were road games. So now you've lost half of your games in which you were going to be able to have a better scenario to help you out. Now, in reality, you only have 2 road games left this year, and that's this weekend against IUPUI. Youngstown State is essentially going to have to sweep IUPUI in order to make substantial inroads in the next week's standings.
Yeah, you hit that right on the head. Yeah, losing those 4 road games, going to when you would have went to Green Bay and would have went to Northern Kentucky, those are 2 huge lost opportunities because those are 2 teams that are ahead of you in the standings. That would have been some great opportunities to make up some ground. So you're right, the lack of road games really has put Youngstown State at a disadvantage. But you get a huge opportunity this weekend. If you are able to pick up 2 wins, even 1 against IUPUI, you would think that would really help with the seeding and could possibly get you up a spot or 2 in the seeding. But it's tough. It's just a unique year. Everything is so different. This formula, anytime you're using some type of formula, you really don't know how it's going to play out. The seedings have been very fluid. We've seen, I think in 3 weeks when they've done the seeding, there's been 3 different teams at the top of the seedings, and it keeps shuffling around. So there's a lot to sort out here. But YSU has an opportunity with one of the teams that's in front of them in the seedings to make a jump this weekend. So you really can't overstate the importance of these games this weekend. If you're able to beat a team in front of you in the seedings on the road, that could be a substantial jump for YSU in the standings. So 2 huge games this week, and then you got to come home and take care of business against Cleveland State, and who knows where you end up. But I think the most important thing for the team is if you can just get one of those top 8 seeds and you can get a home game in the first round, I think that is huge. Obviously, you'd like to get up into the top 5 and top 4 and get a first-round bye. But if you can get a home game in the first round and play on your home floor, I think that's going to be the biggest thing, and I think that's where YSU really wants to be. If they can just get a home game to begin the league tournament, I think that puts you in a good position moving forward.
And you hate to look back, but how much weight do those first 2 games carry when they lost 2 to Wright State? Road wins are so important, so I'm guessing those 2 wins on the road for Wright State gave them a lot of cachet, and also might be one of the things that are holding them down at the point of right now, those first 2 losses of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Those are 2 big losses. I mean, Wright State, obviously, one of the top teams in the league, and then they're weighting these road wins heavier, so that's to their advantage. And you can't overstate just the loss of games too. I mean, this formula, another area that it prioritizes is number of games played, and it's really weighting teams who have played more games against teams who have played less games to make it a little bit more fair. And the fact that YSU lost 4 league games and all of their non-conference games, that definitely works against them as well. So it's like I said, it's a unique year. It's a unique seeding situation. But I think right now YSU, you got to be thinking that you can still sneak into that top 5 if you can get some wins this weekend, and just see where it goes from there. So this weekend is a huge opportunity, no doubt about it.
Dre Smith, the voice of the YSU women's program, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. You also serve as the SID for the baseball team, and I make mention of that because the baseball season opens up next Friday. The YSU baseball team will be in Troy, Alabama. You do such a great job with the game notes. You're going to be busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest, my brother.
Yeah, it's a crazy time. I'm actually sitting in my car right now doing this interview because I was running over and doing some photos for baseball and standby. Now I'm coming back to my office, so it's a crazy time. Yeah, we have like pretty much 19 sports going right now. Football's getting ready to start on top of baseball and basketball, and golf's getting ready to start. We have lacrosse getting ready to start. Obviously tennis and swimming and diving are competing. Track and field is competing. Soccer's competing. Volleyball's competing. It is a wild time for those of us who work in sports information and athletics communications. But I'll tell you what, it sure beats the summer and last spring when no one was competing. That was the worst situation that anybody can remember. It was just so frustrating to not see our kids compete. I think the number one thing that these student athletes come to Youngstown State for is the opportunity to play the sport that they love and get an education. And to see that taken away from our student athletes last spring and even this fall was really disappointing for them. What we do is all for the student athletes, whether it's being on the radio or game notes or, publicizing, our teams. It's all about, sharing what our student athletes do. And it's been frustrating not being able to do that over the last year or so. So it's exciting to have everybody back on the field of competition. It sure is a busy time, but I'll take it over the last spring that we had when no one was competing. So it's a crazy time for us, but it's worth it in the end.
Not just the lost springtime, but you guys, you didn't have anyone competing until basketball season started because the fall was cut out too with the Horizon League. Do you think the time where it was almost a buildup of kinetic energy with everyone kind of sitting around has helped you guys be really ready to go for all this busyness that the SID and the Sports Information Department are doing right now? Because, man, for a long time, you guys were just kind of sitting around waiting for sports to start.
Yeah, no, we were. And it was a unique situation. You had to really be creative and find things to work on. And you know what? We spent a lot of that time preparing for this situation. Preparing for the spring when we knew that things would get a little crazy. We were able to get a head start on a lot of things. So yeah, there was a build-up for sure, but it's worked out great. We were able to do a lot for our student athletes in the fall, even though they weren't competing. We were doing photos and social media things and getting graphics out there and sharing things about our student athletes with videos and graphics and different things like that. So yeah, it definitely was a build-up. We've all been awaiting this. So, it's definitely exciting that it's here, and hopefully this will continue. Hopefully, we get the spring done and we get back into the fall and things can kind of get back into a normal pattern. But, no, it's just great to see our kids competing. We know how hard they work. Our student athletes put in so much work, put in so much time and effort into the sport and their education. So to see them have the opportunity to finally get back to doing what they love and what they came here for, that's really what it's all about, and it really makes it worth it in the end.
Dre, let's get back to the YSU women's basketball program. Nneka Obiizer, once again, freshman of the week. Pretty good chance that she's going to be named freshman of the year this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. At this point, I don't even think anybody has a pretty good case outside of Nneka Obiizer. She is really running away with it at this point. She's been the Horizon League Freshman of the Week 3 times in the 6 weeks that YSU has played. She's leading all freshmen in the league in scoring and rebounding and field goal percentage. So she's really dominating right now in terms of the freshman class. And, I think the consistency is what has just blown me away more than anything. When you see freshmen come in, it's usually an up and down situation where they have good games, they have some bad games as they kind of feel the college game out and learn the transition from high school. But she's just been so consistent. She scored in double figures in 7 straight games. She's had at least 8 rebounds in 10 straight games. So you just know what you're getting from her night in, night out. You're going to get about 15 points and 8 rebounds a game. And, from a freshman, that's just amazing to have that consistency and to be able to rely on a player like that. So I think more than anything, obviously her talent jumps out, and she has taken us all by surprise with how good she's been. But the consistency is what has surprised me most as a freshman. She really has got a grasp of the game. She's comfortable. She's not afraid. We've talked about it before. Just her competitiveness and her toughness has brought an edge to this team that I think we needed. And it's really taken us to a next level, and hopefully she can continue that. We're going to need her to play huge this weekend. IUPUI obviously has one of the best post players, not just in the Horizon League, but really in the country. And NECA's going to have an opportunity to go against her and show what she can do. So it'll be a good challenge for her as a freshman to go up against one of the best players in the league, and we're going to need her to play well to get some victories this weekend.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think we've run out of things to say about NECA Obiizer because I think we talk about her every week. I think there are a couple of weeks in that 3 to 6 week span that she could have won Freshman of the Week, but they gave it to someone else. I mean, she put up the numbers that would have been very deserving of it. But when you look at it, like you said, this week, we're going to really see her shine on the big stage. And the consistency has to make Coach Barnes pretty confident that the stage isn't going to be too big for her because of the consistency that she's shown throughout the season. Do you think that's the case where everyone's most freshmen, you think, okay, they're going to have a good weekend or they'll have a good couple games, but she's had a good complete season. I got to think that makes everyone confident that the stage won't be too big when they go up to a big weekend at IUPUI.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think that if there's one thing about her that I can guarantee, I think at this point, is that she's not afraid of any challenge. She's a competitor. I think that she doesn't back down from a challenge. She has an edge about her. She has a physicality. She's not afraid to throw a player on the floor, in a good way, in an aggressive, playing the game way. But she's not afraid of contact. She's not afraid of physicality, and that's going to be a big deal this weekend. Macy Williams is a physical player down low. They have a number of physical players who are going to, create challenges. So, no, I don't think she's afraid of the challenge at all. She's prepared, and this is going to be a great learning experience for her to go up against one of the best teams in the league and really see what that challenge is like, and that'll only benefit her moving forward throughout the rest of the year and throughout the rest of her career. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see her on a big stage this weekend against a good team, and I think she'll perform well. I don't think the bright lights scare her at all. I think that she'll be prepared, and it should be a good weekend for her, and hopefully she can bring home another Freshman of the Week award after this weekend.
All right, Dre, before we let you go, the obvious question, IUPUI, you take the road trip. The game is going to be Friday and Saturday afternoon. What is on the venue? When are you leaving for IUPUI, and what is on the venue for food?
That's a great question. We haven't really got that far yet. We're leaving Friday morning, so tomorrow morning. We're going to get on the road about 9 a.m. and get out there, and game's at 6 o'clock, so we'll have some time to get settled in and head over to the arena. But food, I don't know. I've been to Indianapolis a couple of times, but don't really know any particular spots. I'm heading out with the YSU women's basketball communications contact, John Vogel, so him and I are going to be on the road, and we're open to anything. So if you have some suggestions, I'm definitely open to it because we're going to have to find some spots for sure while we're out there.
Well, it depends on how much money you guys are bringing with you because there's an amazing steak place in downtown Indianapolis, but it might set you back a few bucks.
You know what? We'll have to see. It's usually we go for convenience and quick food. Just unfortunately, it's a business trip. We're going to get out, be there a few hours before the game, go right to the arena, stay the night Friday night, work all night after the game to get ready for Saturday, and then head home right after. So unfortunately, there's not a lot of time to go see the city and do the things we'd probably like to do in normal times. But yeah, it'll be a fun trip, and hopefully we can bring home some wins because this would be a huge weekend if YSU can find a way to get it done.
No doubt. Hey, Dre, have a safe trip, and we will talk next week, brother.
Always fun to talk to you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
See ya. Dre Smith with the YSU women's program.
He says work all night, and he means that next week we're going to have – I want Dre to go through what his what him and the SIDs have to do after a game. And when he says work all night, he's not exaggerating.
It's at least 3 or 4 hours after a game. You're still at it.
Right.
which is a good reason why those games are like at 6 o'clock. So you figure the game is over by 8. He's probably up till about midnight, 1 a.m. working on some stuff that he has to do. And then
he has to do it again tomorrow.
And then he has to do it again the next day.
The grind, man. You got when you're doing a job like that, you have to love it. Or else it's going to be just life-sucking.
Oh, absolutely.
Soul-sucking abyss.
Absolutely. No, I'll give you a great thing. Everyone just assumed when you're in minor league baseball, you're just doing the game as a broadcaster. No, hell no. Are you kidding me? No. My day consisted of 8 or 9 hours before the game, and then you had the game. That was the best part of it. And then after the game, you had to update all the statistics, update your game notes and whatnot. Now, I was normally...
Well, yeah, minor league baseball teams don't have SIDs.
Yeah, no, they don't. So normally a normal day during baseball season with a baseball game, 15 hours at work. And then when you were on the road, it was 14 or 15 hours of work. And then, oh, by the way, you'd sleep for a little bit and then get back at it again. Because the next day you'd have to work on your game notes to make sure that your game notes are ready to go. So you have the game notes for the opposing broadcaster as well as the opposing media and your own media. So it was tough. I mean, if it's the same thing with the SID. You got things that you have to do outside of doing the game or outside of covering the game, whatever your responsibility is. There's other things that you have to do other than that. You have to love this in order to do it. If you don't love your sport or if you don't love your job, then leave. Because you're just driving yourself crazy at that point.
And yeah, like I told Dre, what more can we say about Nneka Obiazer?
Oh my Lord!
One thing, if you're in women's basketball and your name is Nneka, you better be good because we all know what Nneka Ogwumike did, about 10 years ago for Stanford. I mean, standout basketball player.
Yeah.
But, dang. I can't. I mean, 3 Freshman of the Week awards probably could have been 4 or 5.
Should have been 4 or 5.
She had the numbers to do it.
Sure.
And consistency. I mean, week in, week out, 9 in, 9 out. And I don't expect the lights to be too big for her in a big game on the road in IUPUI.
No, definitely not. Look, this is going to be fascinating to watch her grow and watch her game grow at Youngstown State.
And if we had students, they'd be saying, she's a freshman.
Yeah, there you go.
Every time she scored. Letting you know that's a first-year player kicking your butt.
Yeah, this is going to be so much fun to watch her play and watch some of the other kids.
Hey, next year she'll technically be a freshman too because
exactly
this is a redo year.
Exactly.
So we can still do that chant, Penguin fans.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. When we finally kick COVID to the curb, and Stambaugh Stadium is open for business,
the curb and on the street and let it get run over by a bus.
Yeah, there you go. When Beagley is finally open for business and they have the general admission seats all sprawled out instead of all scrunched up to where the auditorium and gymnasium looks like an empty gymnasium. I'll be curious how many people are actually going to come out and see both teams.
What it did do is it gave them. I was watching the game on Monday for the men, not boys. They have really good opportunity for some big sponsorships in those seats because they're all back. They put big company signs back
Sure,
there.
absolutely.
So that had to bring in some money when obviously the university financially struggling. So you find ways to supplement advertising and what's the word I'm looking for? Sponsorships when you can't have fans there.
Absolutely.
That was a great idea. Hey, our general admission seats are pushed back, but we can hang really big signs on those seats, and it'll give us a big promotion.
Yeah, and there were 2 companies.
And you can't watch the game without seeing it constantly.
Exactly,
I think
Southwoods and Rise Pies.
Rise Pies.
Yeah, and I think both of them are saying thank you very much. I know Ed Moransky is probably happy as all get out to have Southwoods as one of those sponsors, but I'll be very curious to see what what the folks in the Mahoning Valley are going to have to say about these two basketball teams when we finally let the people come in droves to Beagley to watch these two teams.
As much as we've harped on the attendance for football, the attendance for basketball has always been pretty good. Really good.
Yeah, somewhat reasonably decent.
It's been above average for women's basketball.
Sure, it has been.
And the men's basketball, it can really get sacked in there.
Yeah.
Not always, but they sell out a couple times.
The one thing that's always disappointed me is the student section doesn't normally get into it. When you see a high school game when it's normal, the student sections can be colorful and very original. But in college at YSU, the student sections have been non-existent. Hopefully that changes. We go back to high school because we have the head basketball coach of the Cardinal Mooney Cardinals on. We're going to talk some Cardinal Mooney girls basketball. Coach, how are you today, sir?
Very good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Coach, I saw Cardinal Mooney's first game. You guys came to Crestview and played Crestview, and that was a back-and-forth game. And I think Crestview won that game by 3 or 5 points, one or the other. And I commented to you after the game and said, if you start getting into the groove of games, boy, you can see that there's an immense amount of talent with this basketball team. You just need to get the feet wet and get the games played and whatnot. Mission accomplished. I think that Cardinal Mooney is poised to surprise a bunch of people come tournament time. I think you have a tournament run in you, Coach.
Well, I appreciate that. It's definitely season. It's been strange, and playing our first game, we had been shut down twice, and really hadn't practiced too often. And our girls, I give them a whole lot of credit just to continue to practice hard, and I really feel like we've gotten better and better and better. And I kind of feel the same thing as far as I feel like we've got a great group of girls, and I think we could surprise some teams.
Coach, I remember back even before your first game, before even you were shut down, you had games set up and they'd be canceled almost a day of because your opponent had to back out, and you had a couple of those in a row, and it must have been so frustrating for you guys and the team to kind of keep waiting for that first game to come up. When it finally did and you guys finally were able to get on the court and compete with someone that wasn't yourself, how much of a weight off the shoulders was that for this program?
It was definitely a weight off our shoulders, and just to be able to get out and play games. This year's been just really strange, and we've lost quite a few games that haven't been made up, and so to get the opportunity to go out and play and represent your school is something that's important, and I'm just thankful that we've had the opportunity to do that throughout this year.
Coach, as you go through this season, and we're speaking with the head basketball coach at Cardinal Mooney High School, Jason Baker, and as you mentioned, you got shut down not once but twice. You've had all kinds of delays, and yet here we are. You guys are going to play the majority of your games as we get set for a tournament run, which starts on Wednesday night. How satisfied are you that you were able, despite all the setbacks, you were able to play as many games as you played this year?
It's been wonderful, and I think there was going into the season, I think a lot of coaches thought it was really going to be 50-50 if we got to play at all, and so you kind of had to do what you had to do to make adjustments, to do whatever was necessary to get to this point, and to be able. We've got 16 games in. We have our final regular season game tonight, which is 17. I think at the beginning of the season, if you would have told me that we were going to play 17 games and then play in the tournament, I think we would have been more than happy and more than thrilled to do that.
And Coach, I'm looking at this schedule, and man, the final stretch has really prepared you guys. You've had 2 games against Ursuline, and you won both of those, and that has to feel good for everyone at Cardinal Mooney to win the Holy War on the season. But then in between those, you had a 4-point loss to West Branch, who is really starting to click. We've seen them. We saw them last night. They look like they're in tournament form. What has the ending stretch of this season been for you guys as a program, and how much is it getting you ready for tournaments?
Well, that's the whole. That's kind of what you want to do when you put your schedule together. Is down the stretch, play tough games that are going to do just that, and that's prepare you for the tournament. Both games with Ursuline were just absolute slugfest, and even the loss against West Branch at home, I thought we played really well, and I think surprised some people in that respect as well. But yeah, these are the kind of games that you really look to on your schedule at the end of the season to prepare you for what's coming. And this Division II, being in Division II again this year, it's going to be tough, and we know that we've got to be playing our best basketball really every night to have a chance to compete. And these games have helped us prepare for that.
Jason Baker joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. You will open up your tournaments on Wednesday, 7 o'clock at Mooney High School. You'll take on Youngstown East, familiar foe in the same league. You've played this team a couple of times this year.
They're playing tonight, and
we play them tonight.
So I'm just asking you. The last game you guys played them, you won by 2. You're playing tonight, and then you open with the tournament. So does that kind of, as a coach, does that affect the way you look at tonight and the way you game plan and the way you're going to go at East, considering they're your first tournament game? Or is it, guys, we're going to show you our best, we're going to do what we do, and we're going to let the chips fall next week for the tournament as well?
Well, we're definitely going to hold a couple of things back, I think. But we're a little banged up right now as well. Our point guard rolled an ankle in the last minute of the game in the Ursuline game. And she really brings, a whole lot to our team. And so I don't know if we're going to be able to play her tonight. And so if we do, it'll just be here and there. But yeah, we're going to kind of throw a lot of things out there and to try to give them a lot of things to prepare for. And then there are a couple of things that we'll probably hold back that we'll save for next week, because they did play us really tough the last time. They've got some good players that present problems, and so we're going to need to play well to win. There's no doubt about that.
Coach, when you look into the future with this tournament, and obviously you can't look too far into the future because you have your game that you have to win, because once you lose, you're out of the tournaments and your season is over. But if you get past East, you take on the winner of Ravenna Southeast and West Geauga. Southeast is seeded 8. West Geauga is seeded number 11. If Southeast were to win and you guys won, you'd have to go to Ravenna. If West Geauga won, they'd have to come to you. Looking ahead, and I know you don't want to look too far ahead, but assuming that you can get past East on Wednesday, do you know anything about Southeast and West Geauga? And from that perspective, when you take on a out-of-town team in a second-round game, how do you go about putting a game plan for a team that you didn't see on the schedule in the regular season?
Well, I've already started watching film on both of them. And Southeast, we usually play them every year. It got canceled this year, and we weren't able to make it up. So we have a pretty good idea. They're one of the tougher, more physical basketball teams around this area, and they rebound the ball really well. They've got a really good point guard. I've just started watching film on West Geauga. They are immensely talented. I think they were in the regionals last year, Division II. And they're a scary team because they had only played 3 games up until the tournament draw. And they've had some really good wins since then. They just beat Cornerstone Christian by 25, I think. And so they're extremely talented, and I think maybe just starting to get their game legs underneath them. So that'll be a great game. I think that's going to be a fantastic game. Southeast is really well coached, and I know they'll be prepared for that. So that'd be a fun game to go watch.
Coach, can you talk to us about your senior leaders and what they bring to the program and how much of a blessing it has been to coach them over the last 4 years and what it's going to be like, come tonight and come the tournament times when you start pinning their names in that scorebook and you start to realize, oh man, this might be the last time I pin those names into that scorebook.
Right. Yeah. It's, being my first full class to go through here at Mooney, it's just a special group and a group that I'll never forget. And, having said that, we're going to lose some really, really good players. Katie Huff, I think, is one of the better players in the area with all the things that she can do. Gia DiVincenzo is just a really good leader, a great defender, and a good three-point shooter, and someone that we look to, really for leadership and attitude on the floor. And then Gia DiOrio, I mean, for a girl that averages, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 points a game, the way that she disrupts the game defensively and by pushing the ball in transition to create for others, it's going to be we have some big shoes to fill over the next starting next year, and it's just a fantastic. Cherish Little too, also a senior on our team that everyone she's such a pleasure to have around and works really hard every day. There's certainly big shoes to fill, and it's going to be very difficult to replace all the things that those four do for us, and just as good as players as they are, they're even better kids. I think each of them have over a 4.0, and so it's going to be very difficult to replace them, and I know we'll certainly miss them.
Jason Baker, our guest, he is the head basketball coach of the Cardinal Mooney Cardinals as they embark on their last game of the regular season before jumping in to the tournament. Coach, I mean, are you guys playing your best basketball right now of this season? Or is that a great sign that there is a long tournament run in for your Cardinal Mooney?
I think we have been. Both the wins against Ursuline, the tough game with West Branch, we've really started taking care of the ball better lately, and that's kind of been our bugaboo the whole season, I guess you could say. And we've decreased the amount of turnovers we've had in the last 3 or 4 games every time. And I've always felt like if we can take care of the ball, that we're a dangerous team because we really defend well. We're giving up 41 points a game this year. I think 31% from the field. So we can guard people, and we play really hard. If we can take care of the basketball, which we have been, I do feel like we are playing our best, and hopefully we can continue to get better.
One of the things, I've seen a lot of your games since you started at Mooney, and one of the things that I think defines your program is just the physicality that Mooney brings to the floor every night. You beat people up inside the paint, and you're not afraid to your players aren't afraid, not you, you're not putting your body in there, but your players aren't afraid to kind of put their body in there and put their body almost at the line to be physical. Do you think you guys take really a lot of pride in that kind of style of play that you bring to the floor?
Absolutely, 100%. And we talk about program definers when we watch film, and the things that, we want to represent our program, and, toughness and, defensive pressure and, things like that are things that definitely define our program. And we have a super tough group of girls that they aren't afraid really to mix it up with anybody. And, we like to play very physical, hard man-to-man defense. And, it's something that our girls take a lot of pride in. They do not like to get scored on. And, it shows the way that we play and how hard we play. And, like I said, we just have a really, really tough group of girls that enjoy playing that way.
Coach, before we let you go, Anthony and I have talked in the last few years the improvement that the game of basketball has made in this area. And I know for Cardinal Mooney as a program, it's always been a program that loves its defense. And in public schools, you can sit back and say, okay, our junior high program, our 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, it's a little bit different from parochial schools because you really don't have a junior high program per se, but you do have some Catholic schools that you guys use to bring some of those kids into Cardinal Mooney when they become high school age, if they're fortunate to continue a great Catholic education. Can you talk a little bit about the future for Cardinal Mooney basketball and the future for basketball as a whole in the Mahoning Valley? Because I really love the direction that basketball is going in this area, both boys and girls.
I absolutely agree with you. I think, just from my 4 years being here at Mooney, you can tell there's been some significant improvements in the programs around girls and boys, and I think that's exciting. I think there's a ton of really, really good coaches. With girls basketball, you can look around from Matt Reel to Walt DeShields. Steve Miller. There is a ton of really, really, really good basketball coaches. And, a lot of people are taking, I think, a lot of pride in girls basketball around the area. And, that's exciting. You want to be a part of that. For our future, you're right. It is very different. And, coming from coaching within public school, you have a lot more input, a lot more say in what happens throughout the development of your program. We've tried to do different things. This past year, we attempted to have a Saturday skill workouts with any, Catholic school league girl that wanted to come, but with COVID that got shut down. So you just kind of have to be creative to try to get your input in there and to make yourself visible. And because there's some good basketball players coming up for sure, and it is exciting to see the improvements of the area as far as girls basketball.
And I look at the Catholic schools that are left, K through 8th grade. St. Rose and Girard, but I believe that's an Ursuline feeder, and I might be wrong on that. St. Christine, Holy Name in Poland comes to mind. St. Charles and Boardman. I might be missing a number of schools, but those are the only 4 that I can think of in our area that actually have a K through 8 school. Like I said, I might be missing a few churches, but St. Charles and Boardman, St. Christine's, Holy Name in Poland, and St. Rose in Girard are the 4 schools that I can come up with.
Yeah, and there's St. Nick's too.
St. Nick's and Struthers.
And and really this year the only 3 that have girls basketball programs are St. Charles, St. Christine, and Holy Family. The St. Rose and St. Nick's aren't even playing this year, and so that definitely brings some challenges. Because if you lose a year of basketball, it makes it difficult, and especially adjusting to the high school game and the length of it. It's a long season, and I think that's one of the hardest things and hardest adjustments for middle school kids coming in is understanding that it's a long season and it can be a real grind. And so, there's definitely challenges that come with that. And you just got to do the best you can. We had a really good freshman class this year come in. And so we're excited about the future as well.
I want to bring you in on a conversation that me and Ron were having earlier in the show about league championships and how much pride the teams take in that. if you win tonight, you'll end undefeated in the Steel Valley Conference. And I know that the programs take a lot of pride in winning in those games because it's Ursuline, it's East, it's Cheney, it's the Youngstown kind of feel. When you look at your program, how much weight do you guys put on the conference compared to what you can get done in tournament time and where you kind of prioritize the goals that you have as a team?
Oh, it's really important. Anytime that you can win a championship, it's very, very important. And I think last year was kind of weird at times for our girls because, there was before, but for them there was never a Steel Valley Conference. And so when we talked about the importance of winning conference titles, I don't think until the end of it they realized how important it was. And then this year, definitely, it's been something that we've talked about a lot. And to go 6-0 each of the past 2 years in the Steel Valley is it's something that's real important. And our kids, they really, it's important to them tonight to finish with an undefeated record in the Steel Valley, no doubt about it.
Jason, always a pleasure, sir. Good luck tonight against Youngstown East, and good luck in the tournaments.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. You're very welcome. Jason Baker, the head basketball coach at Cardinal Mooney High School. They have a different path. It's you don't have a junior high program and a 3rd through 6th grade program.
Point. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a good point. It's not as easy to build your program as it is in a public school because you don't have the students that are in your building that you can go and see.
Now, as a Catholic, and I've been Catholic for about 22 years, I would love for St. Rose in Girard, Holy Family in Poland, St. Charles in Boardman, St. Christine's and St. Nick's to have, in a normal setting, a Catholic league where kids are playing football. I think they already have a league in football. Kids are playing basketball, both boys and girls, and you have your Catholic league, and you're playing these schools. And if you want to venture out and take on some parochial churches in Akron and Cleveland and Canton, okay, great, let's do that. But I think if you have your junior high schedule where you're playing the other 4 parishes within the Youngstown diocese, I think this would be phenomenal. Yeah. I think it would be fantastic for all involved if you had a gigantic of the Youngstown diocese, which encompasses Stark, Portage, Mahoning, Trumbull, Columbiana, and maybe 1 or 2 other counties, and you have all the Catholic schools K through 8 and converge all of them to do a Catholic league in junior high sports. I think it'd be phenomenal.
I don't know a lot about a lot of those programs, but I do know that St. Christine's girls basketball spits out talent like it's their job. I mean, you look at some of the names that have come through this area for high school girls basketball. A lot of them were starting in St. Christine's, and that girls basketball program for the youth at St. Christine's is very good.
Oh, there's no 2 ways about it. It's just it would be fun to see, and like I said, that on a normal circumstance, maybe that is done. I honestly don't know, but
as of now, they just go and they play whoever, right? There's not like a Catholic league.
Yeah,
they just go and they'll play the South Ranges, the Polands.
Honestly, I'd love to see them play in a Catholic league and let's just go from there.
Do they still play each other though? I mean, like
I would hope that they would, but like Coach said, St. Christine's and St. Charles, I think, are the only 2 teams that were playing and Holy Name were the only teams that had a girls basketball program, which
playing right now.
Yeah, because of COVID.
Because of COVID.
Yeah, and that's sad. That is. It just hopefully
another reason why we got to kick COVID off.
Kick
the street.
COVID to the curb and off the street and get it run over by a bus, or maybe put it in a dunk tank instead of me.
Right.
You know.
No, we don't want to infest the water with COVID, man.
Well, yeah.
Because then when you go in the dunk
tank. Well, I ain't going in no damn dunk tank. I'll tell you that right now. Surely not with sharks. That's for sure.
But, Ron, it's for charity.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a final timeout and get out of here to make room for Power Hour. That's all coming up in a bit. Stick around.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
High-res Futurecast shows steady snow for the next few hours.
Still just downright cold.
It is bitter out there.
Several strong bands of lake effect snow.
Winds is kind of the big story today as well.
So if you need a more detailed winter forecast on WFMJ.com and the Storm Tracker 21 app.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit WRSWealthAdvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a final moments of Running Point before we turn it over to DJ and the boys. I got to assume tomorrow you're going to be waist deep in college softball.
It's college softball, and then we're going to have a lot of content coming at you at ysnlive.com. That's what my Fridays are for. You know, I kind of use Fridays to get a lot of interviews done, get some coaches' corners done. So we're going to have content coming at you all day tomorrow at ysnlive.com. And also I'll be having college softball on the screen.
Yeah.
And then we have a full night of Friday Night Hoops. I'm off that night, but we have a full night of Friday Night Hoops, and you can watch the Open Look with Mike Ackelson on Friday night. 12 games on the network tonight. To see them all again, you can go to ysnlive.com /live.
We're out of here. Have a great rest of the day. Power Hour is coming up next. I'll be in tomorrow, noon to 3, with a Friday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com.
Stay away from Shakespeare tomorrow, Ron.
We're staying away from Shakespeare.
No more
Thou
of that.
dost no more Shakespeare.
Does mother knoweth you weareth her drapes?
Thou dost not wear no drapes.